Hello! I think they can see us now and hear us, hopefully.
I'm on the stream and I don't see us.
Well, it's gonna take a few seconds to update. But hi, chat! Hi!
Hi.
We
Can
had
you hear?
the craziest technical difficulties right before we tried to start stream, so sorry about that. Hello, everyone! All 30 of you already?
Wait, what?
There's 30 people in the stream already.
Hi, chat.
Oh, we're repeating back to ourselves.
Well, it's not on my end, so...
It's repeating back to me.
Oh no. We're live! Oh, I hear my echo. Yeah, okay. That's fun.
Whoopsie daisy.
Whoopsies! It's okay, guys. Scuff is liked, apparently. Oh, I have the wrong VTuber model. That's a problem. Well... Hold on. I was just sitting here with my gaming channel one. That's fun. There we go. I'm back. I'm myself. Oh, never mind. The machines aren't ready to go down without a fight. It would seem. Yay! Okay.
It's so jarring to like hear myself like
Oh,
10 seconds
you
later.
can mute the stream on your screen so you're not hearing yourself. Girl, you've been listening to the stream and me.
I was looking at the stream so that I could
Yeah.
monitor the chat.
I have the stream open too. I don't have the sound on, so I'm not hearing myself. So I don't have to deal with that.
See, I was hearing myself and I was getting so confused.
Oh no.
I was like hearing everything all at once and I was like, did I just open a fourth dimension? What the heck is happening?
So like 2:55, I opened Streamlabs to get the stream started. Streamlabs crashed out of nowhere. I was like, okay, that's weird. I opened it again. It was refusing to let me sign into my YouTube account. I tried like several times, so I'm like, okay, I guess we're gonna go to OBS then. OBS just started the stream without asking me if I wanted to, out of nowhere. And so I'm like, okay, we're done with that. Okay. So yeah, then I came back to Streamlabs and all of a sudden it let me sign in again. So that was nice. Nice of it to do. The scuff is funny. Everything everywhere all at once. Well, welcome to the stream, everyone. Monkey, Cal, Einstein, Bella, Darkside, Citrine, Jacoby.
That I don't know.
A lot of people. I mean, Monkey and Cal I know very well. Hello, Diversitile. Welcome to the stream. I know a lot of these people. Some of these people are new, like Citrine and the Japanese characters that I can't read.
Yay.
Streamlabs is better than OBS. In my opinion, it is. A lot of people say OBS is better though, because most of the stuff on Streamlabs you have to pay to do. It's just a little bit more complicated on OBS, so I use Streamlabs. Hello, Mr. Bill. Hello, Alexito. All right. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit or no? Whatever you want to do.
I guess I can.
Okay. Everyone's like, is that a spider?
No. My character is a scorpion. I'm really only ever gonna upload whenever I feel God leads me to share something, like I actually have something to say, or if I'm, feeling artsy enough to just kind of throw whatever crap out there. But I'm not gonna upload much, but I'm happy to help Frog whenever.
Yeah, we're bug girlies.
Yay!
Bug girlies. Actually, that reminds me. I need to introduce you to my other bug girly. Her thing is Her name is Sunbee, and her whole thing is bees. So we'll complete the set.
Bees.
Bees. Spider woman.
Butterflies, bees, and scorpions, because insects and arachnids are the same thing.
Sure. I mean, bugs just is everything creepy crawly, I think.
Well, bugs specifically pertain to insects.
Really?
Whereas, yeah, bugs specifically pertain to insects.
Bruh. I thought it was just
And
like
I
a
only know that
colloquialism.
because I've been studying arachnids.
Sad.
Because
Well, we can just.
I'm-
You can be the adopted cousin or something then. I don't know.
yeah, scorpion woman, scorpion woman, scorpion,
Scorpion
woman,
woman.
stings whatever a scorpion woman eats. That was from Einstein.
Yeah, Einstein is he's very funny, dude. He's like in every single stream. I don't know, he's from Africa, so I don't know how he's doing that, but whatever.
Maybe he's familiar with scorpion women then.
That's crazy. Is there
Oh my
actually a
gosh,
category of insects called
Darkside,
bugs?
thank you. Darkside said my design
Yes.
looks cool.
Well, I said
Thank
that
you.
too.
Did you?
Yes. When I first met you, I was like, "Oh my gosh, a scorpion."
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I either didn't hear that or I don't remember.
It's fine. It was a
remember
long
it.
time ago. Don't frogs eat scorpions? No. Actually, I think scorpions eat frogs, but whatever.
Well, I remember the Aesop fable of the frog and the scorpion when the scorpion got on the frog's back and committed Sudoku.
What? Wait, I'm gonna look it
So
up. Do frogs eat scorpions?
I think some frogs can. I guess it depends on the type of scorpion.
Some frogs and toads eat scorpions. Brazilian toads, specifically. Bullfrogs. Brazilian toads have a resistance to scorpions. Interesting.
Cyber haptic, yes, technically my sign is a Scorpio. That's why I picked a scorpion out of all the other arachnids, but to me, star signs are nothing more than interesting character designs.
Sparkly light in the sky. Also, scorpions do eat frogs, so we're even.
I mean, I would say that, like, just about any animal is, like, equal opportunist.
Honestly. If it's big enough, if you're bigger than it enough, then you're gonna eat it, probably.
I mean, there's arachnids that'll eat birds.
Right. Bug stream! Welcome to the stream, Ben Ball. So that means we could have frog legs and fried scorpions. I've actually eaten scorpion IRL, so that's interesting.
Don't they taste like, lobster, but, like, at a discount?
Well, it was little ones, so it was basically just eating crickets. It just tasted like salty. It didn't taste like anything.
I wasn't expecting scorpion lore in this stream, but I'm here for it.
Monkeys is not better than bugs. Excuse me, sir.
I actually think monkeys are gross and creepy. I don't like them.
Real! Oh my gosh. I hate monkeys.
I just think
I've
I
never
just
had good
don't like
experience
them.
with
They're
monkeys.
so gross.
We had a family of monkeys living over our mission base when I was in Africa, and they would wake us up at like 3 a.m. every morning by screaming. It was awful. So I do not like monkeys.
No, I think they're just so gross and weird. I like lemurs because they look the least like
Lemurs
monkeys. They
based.
almost look like cats.
Yes, cat monkeys.
And
Monkey is not happy. Animal tier list when. Instead of doing a stream on Christians and media, we're just gonna do an animal tier list.
Animal tier list.
Poor monkey, such slander. There's so many people, oh my gosh. Welcome to stream, everyone. Oh my gosh. Okay.
My word.
My word.
My word.
I'm gonna have my notes pulled up on my laptop actually, and then have my chat up on my monitor. So that way, I don't know why I decided this is actually more inconvenient for me. Whatever.
I can't pull up both. I just gotta go in between the two.
That's okay. I mean, I have a whole lot more to monitor when it comes to the stream, because I have a bunch of things I need to make sure don't blow up while I'm streaming. Yay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm clutching my pearls.
What?
I'm just nervous, and I'm like, anytime I'm nervous, I'm like holding my chest like I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Oh
And
no.
it's just my default position. And it's just like, oh no.
Oh no.
Noah's Ark tier list, keep it Christian. Yes, thank you, Ben.
Dinosaurs are on the top, and then frogs, and then scorpions.
I'm excited. I'm actually like, I remember reading in Revelation that like, during the 1,000-year reign, we're not gonna have to worry about animals attacking us and hurting us anymore. Like children will be playing with
It'll be so
lions and
cool.
wolves,
It'll be so cool.
and it's like, I want like just a pet of like a swarm of like the big scary wasp, because they won't sting me. They'll just be my friends, and I think that that would be so cool.
Oh my gosh. Cows, I forgot about cows. I'm sorry. Where are cows in the tier? We're not doing this on stream. Alright.
Y'all need to see a shampooed cow. That's what
Ugh,
y'all need to see.
shampooed and blow-dried.
Conditioned and blow dried. It
Yup.
is the best thing I've ever seen. Their legs look like pipe
They're
cleaners.
little marshmallows. Okay, I'm gonna try to introduce the topic now before we lose our train of thought any more than we already have.
And Einstein feels the need to warn me about a potential heart attack. I am okay, Einstein. I'm just a little nervous.
It's okay. Once you start yapping, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Plus, chat is really chill. I've said stupid stuff on stream before, and they're chill. I wish Greg talked instead of opening his mouth whenever you spoke. Excuse me. I see how it is. You don't want me on the stream. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about Christians in media. Yay! We're gonna be covering like all of the bases, talking about. I'm gonna talk a little bit about history of Christian in media. I didn't do a ton of research because I did not have time. I really wanted to, but I couldn't. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the history up until very recently. Allison is gonna talk about what's been going on in the last few years, or like even months, I think is what we talked about. Like just the crazy amount of like Christians in media recently. I'm gonna talk about diversity in media, and then Allison's gonna talk about struggles and opposition, and then I'm gonna wrap it up with standards in Christian media. And then after that, we're probably just gonna chill and chat about like if you guys have any questions, you can ask at the end of the stream. You can still ask them during the stream, we just might not get to them. Yeah. And yes, we'll try to have this as a conversation, not just a PowerPoint presentation. But both of us have never really done this before, so it might be a little awkward. Ban Frog from stream, what the heck?
What? What happened?
They're trying to get me off the stream.
Well, if she's off the stream, I can't be here. Isn't that what you guys want?
It's just you. It's only you now.
It's
your channel now, Allison.
It's just me and Greg. The scorpion just stung the frog. And now we will drown together.
And now I'm just, like, paralyzed on the ground. Alright. Yes, music is considered media. That's what we're counting as media. It's like anything to do with art or media or anything like that. Yeah. Alright.
But just, like, content creating in general as well.
Like just making things.
Basically the creative realm.
Yeah.
The creative realm.
The umbrella term. I don't know if there's, like, a word that you can use to include all of it, but it's anything, like, creative expression that has to do with Christianity, I suppose.
See.
Alright. Dang, I don't know how to get started. I'm not used to talking this way, doing streams like this. This is interesting.
Me neither. I mean, I've never streamed before, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes, Christian presence in media. I think we've seen a ton of Christian presence in media all throughout history. Whether that's like music, art, cinema, like any form of art or media, you can find Christian presence in it, even if it's like really small. Historically, art and music have been dominated by Christians, especially in the West. Just like if you think back to like, you know, a lot of classical art that we have nowadays is depictions of Bible illustrations. A lot of the music, like Beethoven and Bach, were written for church or written for Christ and stuff like that. Like they took inspiration from Christianity. We see a lot of Christian influence on art in history, especially in Europe. I don't want to say all of history has been influenced by Christianity, because in Africa and Asia and stuff, it has not been as much as it has been in Europe and then in America afterwards. But yes, especially like specifically Western media has been hugely influenced by Christianity. Recently though, art and media and all the stuff seems to be a little bit lacking in Christianity.
Little is an understatement.
Little is an understatement. I remember like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't really have any good Christian shows or movies at all, except for maybe VeggieTales. But I don't like VeggieTales. Y'all already heard my spew about that. So like 3 or 4 years ago, you go online, you look up anything, and you could never find any Christians online. This is probably because, first of all, Christianity is no longer the popular thing. Back in the day, people made a lot of Christian stuff with their art and music and stuff because it was the popular thing to do. Now that it's no longer popular, people aren't doing that for popularity's sake, Actually, nowadays, if you make Christian content, you're less likely to get popular. Like, progressing towards popularity is a little harder. Sometimes you get blessed, like I did, all of a sudden just get smacked with a bunch of subscribers, but most of the time, you kind of struggle to get to any kind of degree of success with creating art or music nowadays because it's not popular. Second of all, there are art forms around nowadays that have never been around before. Specifically like, digital art. Animation is a fairly new thing. I think it's like 120 years now or so that we've had animation, but it's still relatively new. I would definitely say like the development of animation recently is a new thing. Like 3D animation, studio animation, that kind of thing. Content creation, influencers, TikTok, all of this stuff is very new. We've never seen anything like this kind of thing in history. And so that's the two main reasons I can think of for why, Christianity in media has not been a thing for the last little bit here. My entire life, I haven't seen a ton of like Christian representation in media. For a while, you would look on the internet and hardly see like a single Christian who was actually succeeding at, being Christian online. In my own experience, this is probably because Christianity or Christians held internet and all the stuff that you find on a lot of the internet culture is kind of something worldly that you should stay away from, especially in my case, in my upbringing. I wasn't allowed to go online until I was like 12, and even after that, my mom always treated it like, completely something from Satan. Like, there's nothing good or godly online. And at that point, she was probably right. There really wasn't. Not a ton of Christian representation online. Yeah. It's like there was a whole... Sorry, I'm reading over my notes real quick.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I heard the pause and I was like,
I'm like, my brain is loading. But yeah, there was a whole world of possibilities, but it was a really secular world and really scary to kind of step out into as a Christian, I'm sure. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. We could talk about that. I mean, what was your experience, I guess, before very recently with like Christians online?
Not even just online, but just in the world in general. I never thought that I could ever use the gift that God gave me, being art and a creative mind. I never thought that it would be possible to use that in a way that would honor God. Mm-hmm. I just thought, I was a Christian and I was an artist, and they were just two separate things. Just don't use your art against God, but no way to use it for God.
Yeah.
And that didn't really change. I saw it with VeggieTales. I loved VeggieTales growing up, and that was the only example that I had of people making something that was decent. And that didn't really change my perspective. My perspective didn't really change until I'd seen The Chosen. And The Chosen, whether or not you like it, whether or not you agree with it, I personally find the people behind the creation of it to be very genuine, and that they are really seeking to honor the Lord. I don't agree with every decision they've made, but I think that they're very genuine, and they actually care about like the camera angles and lighting. They care about cinematography. They understand that there is an art form to this, and it makes me think. There's like, I forget which psalm it is, but I think it's like, play skillfully for the Lord.
Right.
And you see all these other ways of worshiping the Lord and serving the Lord, and they're expected to do it skillfully. And it makes me wonder, well, why is art the thing that, like, it is not acceptable to do it skillfully for the Lord?
Yeah.
It's a question that I've had.
Yeah. I never saw, like, any artists doing anything with their talent for God growing up. It was never modeled for me. I mean, I loved art when I was in, like, high school and in middle school. I loved drawing, but it was always kind of this guilty thing that I'm, like, wasting my time doing that when I should be doing something like studying the Bible or, like, working on apologetics or, all this other stuff. It was always, like, in my mind, a wasteful thing, just because I never saw, like, Christians glorifying God through the works of their hands, really. It was always work they glorified him with, not things that they actually enjoyed,
Yeah, and also art, it's really easy. I think artists are honestly, truthfully speaking, as someone who struggled with it, artists are some of the most perverted people. And it's so easy to glorify the flesh with art. And I think it's very important for artists to be Christians in order to make, like, I feel like everybody needs God, but I feel like artists just really need God.
For real.
If that makes any sense. Like,
Our minds need more sanctifying than most people.
Not necessarily that, but like our minds, it doesn't take as much for our minds to go astray and for our hearts to go astray because we are so feely and we can picture things very clearly in our heads. And, we could be indulging in sin right in front of people because we have our own minds to go to. We don't even need a screen. We can have our own minds to go to
so true.
for that. So I think artists just really need the Lord. Like, everybody needs the Lord, but I think artists just really need the Lord.
Yeah. For real. I mean, we all do, but yeah. Active imagination's for real.
Absolutely. Oh, where are we?
Where are we? You could go into your topic, or we could talk more about this. It's up to you.
I guess we could go into, like, why I think, Christian media is taking off.
Do it. Do it, girl.
All right, I'll do it. We've noticed in the past, I would say in the past 4 years, basically at the start of the pandemic, because people were so isolated that it led them open to start searching. So now people are searching for something to bring them comfort in this time of loneliness. And I will say there is this ex-adult star. Her name is Nala. And I think I've been seeing some interviews with her, and I think that her conversion is very genuine. I think she is very true, and she just radiates with joy from the Lord. And she mentioned in one of her interviews that she was on with Leela Rose, I believe. She had mentioned that she has seen God picking people out of specific industries, and like the adult star, a clean, a sanitized version,
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Adult content creator.
Adult content creator. And, she was plucked right out of that. She was the top money maker.
Right.
On OnlyFans. And God pulled her out of that. And she's seen, because she's been in LA and she's been in California, and she's seeing like actors getting pulled out of it, singers being pulled out of it. God is pulling people out of specific industries that have been godless for so long.
Mm.
So I think that, that we're seeing this turn because God is now reaching out to areas that Satan has had a claim over for so long, and God is taking them back to call back more of the lost.
For real.
If that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah, I would say that, like, actually Mythgard mentioned earlier in the chat, The Chosen, if anything, started a trend to move in at least a culturally Christian direction. I mean, when I first started seeing a change in the culture towards Christianity and art, it was definitely around the time that The Chosen came out. There's a lot of people who have mixed opinions of The Chosen. Some people really like it, some people don't. But I do think that it did prove that you can make quality Christian content, because The Chosen, regardless of how you believe and how they did theology, they did a really good job making that show. Like, they did a really good job with the cinematography, with editing, just script writing. It's a really well done show, and I think it kind of proved to people, oh, we can actually do stuff for God that's actually worth it, that's actually good Christian content. And I think that's what I first started to see, a kind of shift towards people being like, oh, I'm going to try to do something actually good for God, because people really love The Chosen, and, the only special thing that they really did is make something that's actually, like, good quality,
Yeah, like, they actually cared about the art form, and
Right.
they did so skillfully. I think God calls us to use the natural gifts that he gave us. He gives us spiritual gifts as we learn and grow, but I mean, we have those natural gifts from the get-go, from the start. Like, I was born with a creative mind, and then with my creative mind, I've learned to do art.
Right.
And I think that, it's our duty to use the natural gifts that God gave us as a means to honor and glorify him.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. Okay. I'm trying to, like, read your script to see if you had anything else to say on yours, but yeah. I just think that, like, I don't know. I don't really know exactly what might have caused the boom in, like, Christian creativity, but you definitely are seeing it right now. We could talk specifically about Christian music for a second if you want. I don't know. Are
I'm
you
sorry,
still
you cut
alive?
out there on my end.
No.
I didn't quite hear what you said.
Do you want to, like, talk about, like, Christian music just for a little bit and just how, like, that's been going? Or we could, I don't know, this is your topic. I'm just kind of, like, trying to figure out where to go next.
I think Christian music has been sound.
Yeah.
I feel like because I feel like music is, like, one of the biggest industries that Christianity has always had.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're not going to get as much flack or pushback in terms of performing music skillfully for the Lord than you are with the creative field, because people have never stopped using music for the Lord, whereas, in the creative field, that's kind of died down. And I think some people are just, like, they're so used to the fact of accepting that the creative field is not an acceptable form of honoring God. So they would just rather it stay that way because that's what they're used to. So they're, like, push back on it, but nobody's ever stopped using music for the Lord.
That's fair.
In terms of, like, there's people out there doing it. Now there's new types of music, like Christian metal, which is my favorite. Demon Hunter is my favorite band. I think that they are, I find that their hearts are so genuine, and that they are very, Ryan Clark, he's the lead singer. I think that he is very genuine in the sense that he doesn't shy away from the difficulties of following Christ, but even when his song talks about the difficulties, there's still this passion and fervor to continue, even though it's really hard. And so I think we're seeing new types of music, but in terms of like music itself has never stopped being used to worship the Lord. And even as an artist, I would personally argue that music is the strongest form of self-expression,
Yeah, I
because
think so too.
there is something that music can do. It can create images in your head, and it can make you feel things that nothing seen or touched can do.
Yeah.
So I
There's
would,
definitely
even as an
something
artist,
like
I
more to
would
do with
say
your
that,
soul.
yeah, I would say even as an artist, even though I want my art to be impactful and to be meaningful to people, I would say personally, me personally, I would say I'm more impacted by music than I am by art, but I am gifted in art, and I want my art to be used to glorify the Lord.
Yeah. I will say with music, you definitely have a point. There's always been a foothold in music with Christians. I think there's never been a time where we've really lost representation in music. I will say that, I think it's around the 70s, though. There was something called the Jesus Revolution, where before that time, you only really ever saw Christian music that was like hymns or, gospel, a little bit of gospel. But it was very, like cut and dry what was considered Christian, what wasn't. It was I think it's kind of actually the state that we're seeing with art nowadays, where anything outside the norm of the Christian music was not considered acceptable. And then the
Yeah.
Jesus Revolution kind of struck, and all of a sudden these kids who are falling in love with Jesus just all over America, decide, oh, we're gonna make Christian rock, we're gonna make Christian hippie music, we're gonna make Christian all of the stuff, and people were like, oh my gosh, how dare you? They were so upset. Like people get on TV and call these people like demon followers. Like they were mad. Like way more pushback than we see nowadays with art and stuff. But I think since that time, we've definitely seen diversity in Christian music that we haven't in the past, before the 70s, before the Jesus Revolution. And yeah, I just think that, like, especially in the last 4 years, like you said, that time period, I will definitely say that there's been more diversity in Christian music than has ever been before. Not just with like Christian rock. I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't like rock music, but I think that people using rock music to express Jesus is so freaking cool, because it's always been like a satanic thing, in the past, and the fact that people are using rock to glorify God is so freaking cool.
Yeah. And I mean like metal even more
Yeah,
so,
heavy
because
metal, like Striper and stuff. Oh my
I
gosh.
had people who were shocked. I had
Yeah.
people who were shocked, and like they would laugh when I told them that I liked metal music.
Oh
They would
no.
be like, a Christian
A
listening to
Christian
metal
likes
music? That's just
metal?
so crazy.
How
And it's like,
dare.
well, it's Christian metal. And they just couldn't
Mm.
wrap their heads. It was this boy, he was younger than me, and he was like a 19-year-old
Oh
kid,
no.
and I'm like, and he's just like, even him, even someone who's in like our age group is like,
Yeah.
what? Christian
Huh?
and metal? That doesn't make any sense. And I was
Right.
like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Personally, my taste in music is definitely more indie. I love like indie pop, indie rock. And even that genre is exploding with Christianity right now. Like I think Forrest Frank would kind of fall under that. He's kind of more Christian pop, but yes, very cool sounding dude. I love Forrest Frank. Um, Someone in the chat mentioned him earlier, which is why I'm bringing him up. But like, oh, I'm trying to think of something people listen to. Anyways, there's a lot of like going on the Christian indie. Christian pop is something that you haven't really seen until recently with Forrest Frank. Jake kind of did some stuff that was Christian pop, even though he's not exclusively a Christian artist. But yeah, there's like people are really expanding and being really creative with their music taste, and I think it's really cool because it's like I genuinely love listening to indie music, and that's kind of exclusively what I listen to. And because there's Christian artists making indie Christian music, that is all I listen to. I would listen to secular indie if they weren't making their music, and I think it's really cool.
And that's the thing, is that I would listen to secular metal. I would have like guidelines, like I would make sure like, okay, this can't be promiscuous, this
Right.
can't be satanic.
But it's not
But
edifying. It's not edifying like Christian
it's
worship
not
is.
edifying, and that's why I was so happy when I discovered Demon Hunter, when I started looking into other if not metal, then at least hard rock. With like the band Red. Red is, I think, is a wonderful band. Skillet, I like Skillet. I like some of his songs, but Jonathan Cooper's voice, he has one of those voices that it's like, I can listen to you, but only for a little bit.
Like one song at a time.
Raspy.
It's in dose.
It's so raspy. It's like, you know, I can listen to you, but only for a little bit. But even then, the drummer for Skillet, Jen Ledger, she has an amazingly beautiful, clear voice, and she has an independent album, and I like listening to that as well. 1,000 Foot Crutch is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think about the diversity of Christian music and the diversity of Christians worshiping him.
Yeah.
I think about that, and it makes me, it reminds me of like all the different denominations. Like, as long as we are worshiping the same Christ, like God the Son, as long as we, you know, accept that his blood is the only atonement for our sin, like if that's the main thing, I can vibe with you. And even the Bible itself, I forget exactly where it is, but you know, there's people of different doctrines who do things different ways, but they're being inspired by the same spirit.
We're all the same body with the same head, even if we do different things.
With the same head, even though we do things differently, we all are inspired through the same spirit, and we're gonna bear the same fruits of that spirit. We're gonna bear them in different ways, but the fruit will be the same. And if the fruit is the same, that's how you know that the spirit of the person is true.
Right.
So,
for real,
regardless of their denomination.
I'm gonna catch up in chat real quick. Ben Ball made a good point. It's like Christian and rap for a while was seen as inconceivable. That's 100% true. Christian and rap is something that's very new. Like NF, I think, is the guy. I don't remember. He's like really popular for his Christian rap. I don't like rap, so I don't follow that world so much. But very cool.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of rap, but honestly, my only type of rap that I've ever listened to was rap about video games.
Oh my gosh. I think I could tolerate rap if it's good lyrics. If I can actually understand what the person is saying and I can follow along, then it's okay.
It's either like, for me, it was like rap about video games or Tom McDonald.
Those
are my raps. Those are my raps. Those are the only bit of rap that I listen to. Maybe Church Clap. Church Clap is a good song.
Oh yeah.
It's a little corny, but I love it. It's old school and a little corny, but I love it.
Hope for the Hopeless really likes Red as well. People are saying Petra helped them through hard times. Red is so good. Sunday is good. The Oh Hellos, I love the Oh Hellos. There was like a year or so where I was just listening to their music constantly. A little burnt out now. I have to like be really careful with how much of them I listen to because I'll get burnt out again. But yeah. If you mention Story of Undertale in my stream, I'm gonna ban you guys. Don't, please. I don't know, is NF a Christian? I'm trying to remember, there was a name of a Christian rapper who was really popular, but I have no idea.
Mythgard, I did not go to church camp.
Dang. Not Based Frog doesn't like VeggieTales rock or rap. I'm sorry! I'm not American, you can blame
Ally
it on that.
likes VeggieTales metal and Church Clap. Also, I do want to say something. It's completely off topic. AllyArtz is my branding. Allison is my name.
Yeah.
I would prefer you call me Allison. AllyArtz, it's just branding.
She will throw things at you if you don't call her Allison.
Because Allison Arts sounds so stupid. Allison Arts sounds stupid. AllyArtz rolls off the tongue, okay? One is branding, one is my name. Please call me by my name.
Grey Havens is based, Mythgard. I love Grey Havens. So good.
Yes, Monkey. Lay Cray did do the church clap.
Alright.
There's 58 people watching.
There's a lot of- this might be stream record. I think last time we got 57, so that might be stream record. Good for you, Allie. Or Alice. Oh my gosh, Alice. Good for you. You grab everyone's attention, I guess. They're all here for you.
It is then.
Yes, based Al is crazy.
Life is crazy, but you can take your time. I mean, we're on the
Yeah.
Lord's time. We're not on
For
our
real.
time anyways.
I'm doing what I can with the time I have, and that's not a lot of time, so.
The stream froze.
Did it freeze?
Just a
Wait.
second. For just a second.
Breh. Rude.
For just a second. I appreciate some Toby Mac. I see Toby Mac in there. I appreciate some Toby Mac.
His more vibey songs, like the ones you can dance along to, are really fun. Oh my gosh, if you full screen the stream and crash everything, I swear, YouTube, please.
Don't full screen. Just don't full screen.
I didn't
If
want
it's
to.
working,
I didn't mean to.
if it works when you're not full screening, then don't full screen.
I didn't click the button. 79 viewers, is that real? Did we get stream rated? What the heck? Okay.
Wow.
That's a new record. Yay.
Maybe this is why we were having so many technical difficulties.
It's because everyone joined.
Because like it crashed because everybody came at the same time.
How dare you guys? You broke the stream.
And then it went back down to 66.
Now it's 66 again. Interesting. That was weird.
A bunch of people came, saw what was happening, was like, no, bye.
They're like, nah, we don't want that. It might have been bots, honestly. Who knows?
All these bots are just like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, Jesus, bye.
Yeah, okay. I don't know a ton about like Christianity in like writing or like in like books and stuff. I haven't found a whole lot of Christian like writing, so that maybe that's something that you guys should be doing, is writing Christian books, because I mean, of course there's always the good ones like Narnia, and like the Silent Planet series. Those are always good, but they're a little old and we haven't had anything like that since, you know?
Oh, our audio is cutting out.
Our audio's cutting out. Is it still cutting out?
We're on a delay, so we're probably gonna have to wait a minute for people to reply to us.
Okay. Wingfeather Saga.
Truth Seeker, yes. Wingfeather Saga is good. I have all 4 books. I read all 4 of them back to back. They are so good.
I have not read them yet, but I really want to.
They are so good. I could lend them to you. I could literally mail them to you.
Girl. I'll just come to your house, don't worry. I know where you live. Just kidding. I don't specifically
You do,
know your
'cause we talked
address,
about it.
but I could find it.
You do, because we talked about it.
I mean, like, honestly, the pictures you sent, I kind of want a vacation at your house. Like, that is a gorgeous area.
Well, I have an apartment, so I'm not
I'll just live in
I'm
the
not
street
really in the
then.
position to have sleepovers, which
okay.
is sad.
I'm used to being homeless, it's fine. One book series I recommend that is Christian is The Circle Trilogy by Ted Dekker. It's a little heavier, so if you're like under the age of 18, maybe don't read it. There's some stuff. Definitely don't read any of Ted Dekker's other stuff. He's like a Christian horror writer, but the Circle series is not horror. It's like fantasy. It's kind of like Narnia. It's actually a lot like Narnia. But it's really good. It's to compress it, is this guy, when he sleeps, he's in another world that's kind of like the story of the Bible in a fantasy setting, but on really fast play. So like at the beginning of like when he's young, he's like in the Garden of Eden, but this is story's version. And then like when he's an older guy, like 40 or so, he's doing the Revelation stuff. So it's like a really fast track version of scripture. But yes, very good book series. I would recommend that. But I mean, I'm not huge into the reading world, I guess. I'm not the book talk kind of girly. I read when someone offers like a book for me to read, and sometimes I'll read it. Right now I'm reading Pride and Prejudice really slowly. That's about it. So I don't really know the state of like...
I keep seeing messages about our audio cutting out.
Is it?
Hey y'all, we just need a straight answer. We need a straight answer. Is our audio cutting out still? Or is it okay?
Is it on
some
our end,
people, or
is
is
it
it
on
all
other
you
ends?
people?
I don't really know how to fix audio cutting out. Screwtape Letters is very base, 100%. I don't know how to fix cutting out audio on my end. Because I'm not seeing any issues on my panel.
Okay, someone says it's okay.
Everyone
Some
says it's
people say
okay.
no. Audio is
So
fine
it
for me.
might be
It's
on
going
your
back
guys'
and forth.
end.
It's good. It's okay for us. Audio never cut up for me. So it's some people. Some people
are having
cutting out.
connection issues. It's not our end. Okay, that's good to know.
Okay. And somebody had asked about what Christian music I recommend. I'd say it depends on your genre. I can say, all the ones that I mentioned. Demon Hunter is my number one. Demon Hunter is my number one. Like, it is so cool. Demon Hunter is my number one. And then I would probably say 1,000-Foot Crutch and then Red. Those are my 3 big ones. I say Skillet is good. Jen Ledger from Skillet, she has her own album. That's really good. But yeah, I mainly just listen to those because those are the ones that I like. Holy Name, that's it. Holy Name, they're Russian Orthodox, but they have 2 really good songs. I think the first one I can think of is Meet Me in the Quiet Place. And there's one is Fall on Your Knees. And there's also Stained Glass. Those are the 3 that I've heard from them, and I think they're really awesome. So
nice. For those of you who are still having connection issues, someone said that if you leave the stream, if you close out the tab and then open it again and join the stream again, it should work better. So hopefully that helps you guys. I don't know any country music, Patriot. I'm sorry. I don't listen to country.
Country. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Owl City is a very good indie song. I love Montana. That's my favorite of his. But he does have like a lot of Christian songs.
I wouldn't call these like Christian country, but if you want people that have a little bit more of just a natural southern sound to their voice, I would say Casting Crowns or Third Day.
Yes,
because I know the lead singer of Third Day, he has a little bit of a twang to his voice.
He got the twang. He I think he had a history in country and he kind of kept the voice from it. Someone says you should make a community post about this. You could do that. I could also turn this into a short of you just listing out your recommendations of music. Imagine
Somebody asked me if I've heard about the Millennial Reign. Yes, we have already discussed the Millennial Reign. See, I know of it. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna have a bunch of pet bees. No, wasp. I want the really big, scary ones. Because then I won't be scared of them anymore.
Hello, Snowbloom. Welcome to the stream. Doesn't listen to country. Another check on the not based frog list. Okay, guys. Dang. Can't have my own taste. I will be 100% honest. Metal, rock, and country all leave a bad taste in my mouth because of something that happened in the past. So I just don't listen to it. Because trauma. Yay. Oh, he met the band Millennial Reign. Have you listened to the band Millennial Reign?
The band Millennial Reign. Okay, maybe? That's a big maybe. Maybe. I could have heard it in passing. I have a friend who listens to a lot more types of metal than I do. I'm not a fan of like the heavy stuff. I like being able to hear the person sing.
Right.
I like
want to
a
know what
little
the
bit
words
of screaming, but not a bunch of screaming,
Yeah.
I like it heavy enough that I feel the emotion, but like not so heavy that it's just like banshees.
Yeah. We probably should keep on moving a little bit. Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
We covered music, covered books really quickly. Basically, the conclusion of books is that you guys need to write books so we can actually have good Christian books out there instead of all the weird yaoi fan fictions that you find everywhere. But, what else? What other kinds of media are there? We're gonna talk about content creation a little bit, so I don't want to jump to that. Art, music.
Think what we've got
books.
is. I'm looking back at our notes.
Yeah, me too.
We have VTubers gaming.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in a second, but I just want to cover like the normal stuff before we get to the weird stuff.
I think we're just at the point where we are at the weird stuff because
Okay.
we talked about books, we talked about music, we talked about just movies and like just shows coming in general, just entertainment in general.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think we're there.
We're ready for the weird stuff. So I wanted to talk about, after talking about like Christianity in kind of the normal media you would expect it to be in, like art and music and stuff. I wanted to talk about things that I've been seeing where Christians have been in media that is kind of not expected. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is actually VTubers, and that's a really funny thing I never would have thought I would talk about on a stream. But recently, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with it, but I became friends with a VTuber called Celestium, and she is a Christian VTuber. She's kind of a leader of the Christian VTubing side of the internet. She's really, really cool. I love her to death. Her content's really good. Through her, she invited me. She's like, hey, since we're friends, you want to join this like content creation server I'm a part of on Discord and like hang out with some other like Christian content creators. Most of them are VTubers. I'm like, sure. I was expecting to be like 20, 30 people. I join, there is like 700 people in that server. There are like 700 VTubers. And that's not even all of them. Like, some people refuse to go in Discord. I'm like, bro, how is this like a niche that I did not know about? So that's been like popping off recently. Christian VTubing. I think like the one thing that really made Christian VTubing successful recently was actually Celestium. She made a video about talking about LGBTQ on a stream or on a video or something. I don't remember. I don't really know the context, but the internet absolutely blew up at her. She got so much hate for that video, just talking about how LGBTQ is a sin and that kind of thing. Absolutely demolished, and you know, everyone that was her friends, all these other VTubers kind of jumps to her defense, and I think that like that random persecution where like 50 people were just absolutely tearing into her for months actually really made her popular and really made the niche popular. They're still a growing niche. I mean, I would never have thought, looking at VTubers, be like, oh yeah, that's a Christian thing. I never would have thought that. For those of you who don't know what VTubers are, they're kind of like what I am, like my little model that moves around when I'm talking, but they're tracked to your face and your body. So when you open your mouth, the character opens its mouth and their eyes move or your eyes move, kind of thing. So it's kind of like augmented reality a little bit. The only reason why that's not, that like you don't assume that's Christian, is because that whole niche of VTubing is really dependent on like sexualization. They really like go for sexualization. They're really ungodly, really worldly. Just kind of, yeah, kind of have to be really careful when you go into that world. Like, it's kind of funny to watch VTubers, but really their whole sex sells kind of thing is their whole thing. So yeah, it's just been really cool. I've been like seeing VTubers like as Christians, and I know Allison, you haven't had a ton of experience with that.
Yeah, I've not had the most amount of experience with VTubers or anything.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not really surprised by it because I mean I'm seeing a lot of, like we had mentioned before. I mean, I've been noticing, you know, God calling back to people from like all these different, like he's calling people from specific areas that are like really known for just being godless.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like that's what we're seeing here, is that we're just seeing people being called back, and you know, God like making his mark on these areas that have been so famously godless.
Yeah.
You know, all this time.
Talking about Christian VTubers, Uber Marshall's in the chat. That's fun. I don't know if he qualifies as a VTuber, but he's definitely part of that boom in VTubing, so that's fun. Silent Belle, I've talked to her a little bit, but not a whole lot. She's very cool, but she's definitely like the most popular Christian VTuber. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Allison. I'm sorry. I got really excited when I saw Uber.
I was done. I finished my thought. I've got nothing left in here.
Okay. It was really funny. We started talking about Christian VTubing, and then Uber joined. Anyways, he's not a VTuber, but in my mind, in my heart, he's a VTuber.
VTuber by heart?
Yeah. Honorary VTuber. He's a member, friend of the community, yeah. But yeah, kind of on the same topic of VTubing, this kind of like more interesting spaces of YouTube being taken up by Christians. I think we could also talk about gaming for a little bit. It's not something that I've seen a ton be done yet, I guess, like exclusively Christian gamers. I will see that people like Christian streamers will play games while streaming, and that's kind of like how they reach people. But YouTube specifically is where my focus is most of the time. I don't follow Twitch a whole lot. At least, except that now I'm kind of being forced to follow Twitch. Yeah. Oh. Carrie holds the title of most popular. Oh, really? I haven't talked to her yet. Might be. I'm still new to the everything. Anyways. Gaming's not something I've seen a ton of people do, but I have seen more people try to be a Christian gamer recently. Whereas, like, 4 years ago, you know, I talked to a few people online about it when I was kind of just, like, figuring out, or not 4 years ago, 2-ish years ago? I was talking to people online, and they were kind of like, oh, Christian gaming would be really hard to do, especially since, like, most games are really not Christian friendly. It's just kind of boring to hear a Christian talk about God while they're playing a video game. Most Christians are bad at games. All this weird stuff, you know, this really weird, like, people were really against the idea of, like, Christians being in the gaming community, I suppose. And nowadays, it's definitely not. There's no stigma like that against Christians in the gaming sphere. It's just there's not a ton of people doing it yet.
Do you want me to add something?
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading chat really quickly. Frog Pond is not an indie VTuber. I'm a PNG tuber. There's a difference. Good luck getting Carrie's ear. She's quite reserved. Okay. I don't need to. It's just cool that I'm a part of the server, honestly, and talking to all these famous people. Please don't move to Twitch. I hate Twitch. If I was ever gonna do Twitch, it would be at the same time of YouTube. It wouldn't be exclusively Twitch. Don't worry.
There's a market on both.
There's a market on both. I feel like for my main channel, I'm gonna stick with YouTube. For the gaming channel, maybe Twitch eventually one day when I have more time.
What are we moving on to now?
I'm just reading chat. I'm sorry. Okay. the brain dead silence. Yes,
Just
more
like the
Christian
radio
gamers.
silence?
I mean, let me think. Like, probably I'm gonna say 70% of my viewers enjoy playing video games. I'm just gonna throw that out as a number. At least, like, to some extent. And 70% of you guys are very capable of doing Christian gaming content. Like, I'm not saying, oh, you have to serve God. I'm just saying it'd be kind of fun to see more Christian content creators out there playing video games and, like, actually having fun. Something that's been my dream for a long time is to get a group of friends together that really click and really have fun playing video games and just have fun with them and be stupid and talk about God. Like, that's the dream.
Have fun, be stupid, talk about God. That's what I do with my
My
friends.
life motto.
Like, all the
I
time.
need to have that, like, above my fridge or something. Like, have fun, be stupid, talk about Jesus.
Maybe, like, have that on a mug, like on a coffee mug.
Yeah. Merch idea? Yes, Hope for the Hopeless. Let's do video games together. Eventually. I can't, like, commit to anything for, like, the next 2 months, but yay. But yeah, this kind of, like, it kind of leans towards the idea of you can use anything to glorify God. And this is something I've been saying for a long time, because people ask me, how do I become a Christian YouTuber? I'm saying, my whole thing is that I love the idea of people becoming more Christian YouTubers, at least giving it a try, at least, like, seeing, hey, how can we do Christian content with excellence? How can we actually put effort into what we do online? But it doesn't just have to be YouTube. That's my calling right now, and very soon that might be a different calling. I might, you know, God might take me somewhere else. God leads me in a lot of different directions, a lot of different times. Your calling may be completely different than mine. It's not like, yeah, it's not like everyone has to be a YouTuber, and that's kind of stupid to say, but I do kind of see that mentality a little bit with some of my, at least my younger viewers. They all think that the only way that they can serve God with their art and with things that they like doing is online, and that's not necessarily true. There are a lot of outlets to serve God with artistic talents offline. I mean, I can think of a few things, like definitely helping out with church, like graphic design. I did a little bit prophetic art. I don't know how people's opinions are of that, but basically just like God gives you an image and you draw it. It's a very cool way of worshiping God. That's very fun, honestly. I love doing that. I should do more of that. But like there's definitely Sorry, go ahead.
I would also say that you don't have to do like content creation full time. Like I'm definitely not going to be doing that full time. I'm going to be doing it when I feel led by the Lord to share something, or if I'm feeling creative enough and I feel like, you know, this is worthwhile enough to share. And like me helping you out with stuff, I'd be more than happy to do that. And but like it's not going to be my full time. It's not going to be like I'm going to get money from this, but it's going to be in the time that the Lord gives me, this extra time that the Lord gives me, you know. Like that's when I use my creative gifts that he has given me for the purpose of his kingdom.
Yeah. Hi, Annie Doll. Welcome to the stream and goodbye. There's your shout out. There are a few channels or like a few like people online that I was gonna maybe try to show videos from, but with how much problems I'm having with tech on the stream, I might not. One person
might be a little risky.
Yeah, I would say I'm just gonna stay away from that right now. But I'm gonna like mention these projects because I think they're cool. First of all, Christian Anime Podcast is a very cool YouTube channel. He talks about how you can kind of like find a Christian message in pretty much any anime, and he like finds animes that he really likes and he like glorifies God through like evaluating them from a Christian perspective. I don't agree with all of his views on stuff. There's a few things that we disagree on, but he's a really cool channel and I actually really enjoy watching his content. It's really well done. Celestium is someone already
prophetic art.
Her?
Somebody's asking about for you to go into depth about prophetic art.
Prophetic art? I think that's something I could talk about another time because I don't really want to waste time talking about it because I don't really know a whole lot about it right now. I'd have to do a little bit of research. Just to see how biblical it is, because I know some people are against it, I guess.
Well, there's different types of prophecy. I mean, there's not just telling of the future.
Right.
There's also just the foretelling
of just understanding God's
word.
Yeah.
Of God's word. And like that's I mean, that's something that we're all called to do. We're all called to like speak forth God's word. Like, that's something that we're all called to do. We're not all called to predict the future, but we are all called to speak forth God's word. So we're all called to prophesy, just not, you know. There's the normal prophecy, and then there's, like, the really, really special prophecy.
I like the, you know, telling of the future stuff is something for very specific people. And I would even argue that we're not going to see a ton of that nowadays, just because it was really... I'm trying to be really careful about this because I really think that you know, spiritual gifts are for here and now. But the closer we get to the end days, I think the less room there is for prophecy, because I think it's a pretty biblical concept that we're never really going to know when the world is going to end until, you know, we start seeing the signs. And the signs will speak for themselves. We don't really need prophets to be telling us, hey, it's the end of the world now, guys. And like the closer we get to the end of the world, whether that's like next year or in like 50 years or in like 100 years, I don't really know how long. Of course, I don't know how much longer the world has. Could be, honestly, thousands of years still. Who knows? We're gonna have a little bit less room for prophecy, like just because there's less things to prophesy about, I suppose. And then there's also part of it where you're
also,
just,
I mean,
you're warning.
God says no man knows the day or the hour.
Right.
So those videos drive me up the wall when I see people are just like, God showed me what the end of the world will be. It's like, no, he didn't.
Right.
You're not more special than anyone else. And he said nobody knows.
Right. Like, not even the Son knew when he said that. Like, not even Jesus knew when he was walking on Earth when the world was going to end. So...
Also, I think Jesus still doesn't know. I think that's the thing, is that God the Father of the Trinity, God the Father is the only one who knows, and Jesus, God the Son, won't know until it happens. Like, okay, time to go.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have a formed opinion on that.
Jesus he submitted himself to the Father.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
that he limited himself when he was on Earth for sure because you
Yeah.
know, you couldn't fit all of the godness into a little human body for sure.
Well, actually, he was fully God and fully man.
Right, I'm just saying that
But he
like
willingly surrendered himself to the Father.
right, and there's parts of I don't think that when he was a baby that he, you know, I'm trying to say this well. I don't think he had a full grasp of godness while he was walking around on Earth. He was still 100% God. He was still 100% that person, but he limited himself, you know?
I think he understood, but he just willingly took less.
That's what I'm
If that
saying,
makes
because he
sense.
limited himself.
Yeah, he fully
Like,
understood.
he had the
but then he
opportunity
just-
to completely become, you know, glorified in front of everyone and, like, rise up into the sky and start, you know, saying everything about the world, but he didn't. He chose to limit himself to a human body and a human understanding. Yeah. But he was still fully God.
Yeah. I think we got a little bit off topic.
A little bit sidetracked. Talking about projects on the internet I really like right now that are kind of interesting Christian projects. I already mentioned Celestium, so you guys could either watch back in the video if you weren't here for that, or watch back in the VOD if you weren't here for that, or, yeah, just go look up her name on YouTube. Another project that's really piqued my interest is called Judas Iscariot, and this is something I did want to play on stream because there is a trailer on YouTube for it, and it's anthropomorphic version of the gospel told from Judas's perspective. And I don't know who's making this, if it's a Christian organization or if it's someone who is just doing it for fun. I don't really know the story behind it. The only thing I can see is that there's a cross emoji in the description of the video. But yeah, it's anthropomorphic, so that's like the characters are animals, not humans. So it's very interesting. The art style is gorgeous, the animation's gorgeous. It looks like they're putting a lot of effort into it. So I'm definitely like praying that this is actually God-honoring project, not just something weird mocking the Bible again. Gabriel and the Guardians is an anime by Angel Studios, the same people who made The Chosen. I haven't watched it. I don't really know how I feel about the theology going into it, but it looks really cool. It's an anime.
I will say this, Angel Studios did not make The Chosen, they just were the platform.
Well, it's the studio that produced Chosen, so yeah.
Yeah, but Dallas wrote The Chosen.
Yeah, I know. Like, you can still have a producer at the head of the project, but Angel Studios is like the people who are backing him, so it's their thing. Yeah.
Except it isn't anymore. They actually ended their partnership.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they ended about a year ago, and The Chosen are now completely separate on their own app with their own funding.
Oh, dang. Well, good for them, honestly.
Well, yeah, I think they had some differences because, I mean, Angel Studios is Mormon.
Right. That's so what that was, yeah. They're a little interesting theology, but I don't think it shows up a ton in their content.
Yeah, I think the heart is there, the fact that they just want, you know,
right.
at the very least, they want Jesus glorifying.
There's a verse that says I'm paraphrasing so hard right now, and I don't know where it is, but you can look it up. There's a verse that says whether you prophesy, or whether you preach out of a heart of pride or out of a heart of humility, whatever you do, the gospel is still preached and God is still honored, something like that. So, like, you know, God can still use things that come from the wrong heart posture for his glory, you know?
Yeah. Also, we keep getting off track.
Yeah.
Christian projects.
I mean, that was kind of the end of my list. I'm trying to think of, like, anything else that I've watched recently. I'm trying to be a little bit more active online because I realize knowing about stuff that's happening is helpful to talk about. To talk about stuff like this, and I do want to talk about it more. I'm just kind of a little bit internet illiterate. I mean, I'm sure chat knows of some projects. I have a person on my Discord server who's making, I don't know if it's an animated project or a comic or something, but it's Jesus and the Disciples, but like cats, and it looks so cute. I don't know.
I always feel a little bit like iffy about people when they, with the Judas Iscariot thing, the thing that kind of was like, I thought it was interesting that they were anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
I would say I'd probably be more open to watching it if they didn't make Jesus an animal. There's just something about that just kind of like,
Mm.
eh. And
I
also, I
mean,
mean, even
yeah.
VeggieTales didn't go there. Even
I think
VeggieTales didn't go.
what I would do differently if I was part of the project is not make him a cow like they did in Judas Iscariot. I would make him like a
Apparently, it's
lamb
an
or like a sheep or something. Because that at least plays into like biblical imagery of like, you know, Jesus is described as a lamb, you know. And it's a little bit safer ground than the ox.
Yeah, and then there's also like even in VeggieTales, I mean, the guy who made VeggieTales, one of the like advice that he got from his mother about it when he was like coming up with the idea is that she was like, don't make Jesus a baby. Or not baby. Don't make him a vegetable.
Right.
Make him a baby. If you're gonna see like baby Jesus, make him a baby. Don't make him like a vegetable, because that's
It's
gonna
careful.
really
You have to be really careful with that because it's not like
yeah.
there's no command in scripture that directly applies to that except for like respect, you know, hold him in reverence. It's definitely something you would have to pray about extensively. I would never do it because I would be scared of sinning. But I am
would personally
excited.
I would personally not go that way.
Yeah.
I would say I think I'd be more intrigued with the concept of it if everybody else was an anthropomorphic animal, but then Jesus was a human.
Be odd. I don't know.
It'd be odd.
Yeah.
It's just like that's what, because I didn't even see in the thumbnail that he was an ox. Like I didn't see that. I didn't know that until like just now. So
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was a human, and then everybody else around him was an animal, and I was like,
No,
why?
he's like a cow-looking thing.
And to me, that's like
He
that's
does
almost
look
worse.
he does look a little bit more human than the other characters, but it was a little jarring. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that would. I think that's kind of at that point. I wouldn't do it
Oh, they
because
could have made him
even
a
if it's not
ram
blasphemous,
referencing.
I think it loses impact.
Yeah.
I think it just takes
I
away from the impact
would
of
love to
Jesus
know.
when you make him an animal.
Okay, so like here's the thing: is that the easy route would have either been to make him a lion or to make him a lamb because that's like actual biblical imagery he's compared to that, or ram like someone in the chat said. I would like to know why they didn't go with that, because that would be like where my brain immediately went to when I was making like drawing up this project at first. That would be the first thing I would think of is, oh yeah, Jesus is a sheep or something. I would like to know why they didn't go with that. Like there's got to be reasoning behind it.
Yeah. And then I even see like Ben in the chat here is like it would be cool to have more shows that make their own original world but still hold on to Christian values. That's something that I personally want to do. I want to make fictional stories, but I want God to be the center of them. And I mean, like, they're wholly fictional, like they've got like mythical monsters in them and what have you, but like God is still the center of it. And it's not because I want to change God or because of like whatever. I just personally feel this calling that when I do something creative, I personally feel that I just want my Heavenly Father to be involved. When I write stories, I go on these adventures just as much as the people who read them. And I just want to go on that journey with my Heavenly Father. And I just want him to be not only a part of it, but the center of it.
I will say that I've done a little bit of creative writing, and it's really hard for me to do full-on analogies. Like, for example, like Narnia, where, you know, Aslan is clearly God, and you can kind of connect every character in the story to someone in the Bible or someone, you know, something to do with Christianity. I really struggle with that because, first of all, you're going to have to make Jesus say things that he didn't actually say, or God say things he didn't actually say, and I'm, like, kind of terrified of, like, misrepresenting him. Unless I would go through the entire book just using scripture as what God would say. I don't know how hard that would be. That'd be pretty hard. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with, like, you know, a fantasy representation of God saying things that he doesn't actually say in scripture, if you understand God's heart enough and, like, this is something he would actually say. Except I don't trust myself.
Doesn't violate his word.
Yeah.
If it's something that it doesn't go against his word.
Right.
That's why I think personally, when it comes to King of Kings, that animated movie that came out,
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of the way that they changed some of the things that Jesus said.
Mm.
It'd be one thing if you changed it in a way that children could understand it better, but it kind of got to the point where it was like so watered down that it was like it kind of just it lost its meaning.
I think that's the danger definitely with, especially like content, just like rehashing the gospel plainly, is that if you want it to be different than all the other shows and movies that have come before you, you're gonna make Jesus say things that he didn't actually say, and that gets into dangerous waters because you're actually telling the story of Jesus. And I think there's a difference between that and like a fantasy novel where you have a God character who represents God, Yahweh, but he's not actually Yahweh. You know, it's your version, it's your interpretation of him. I think there's a difference there. I would hope so. I would assume so.
I would say, personally, in the story that I have in mind, it is like our world, and it is our God, but there's just, you know, like different things happening. Not necessarily, it's not about like biblical times or anything. It's about like modern times, but it just like if our world, but if it involved like mythical creatures.
Yeah.
And it's like the same God and everything.
Right.
But it's not to misrepresent God. It's
Right.
just because I just personally I was trying to like just make the story like up on its own, like just have it be its own thing, but I just felt like I really wanted my Heavenly Father involved.
And I'm 100% for that. I don't think there's any problem with it. It's just difficult for me to like, I overthink. That's probably the heart of it, is that I overthink. I'm like, is this something God would actually say? Am I misrepresenting him? I get so scared. I really want to be like reverent to him. So usually what I do is
The Lord knows and is gracious. He
Yeah.
understands the meaning. He understands the intentions of the heart.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, even with shows like The Chosen, I don't think that they've done everything great. And I think that they're trying, the people who write it, like, I think that they're really trying their best to honor God as best as they can. And, you know,
yeah,
they're going to go up to heaven, they're going to learn one day what they got right and what they got wrong.
I mean, they were kind of the first people to really pioneer in that regard of making like a creative version of the gospel. So I can't really blame them for making mistakes. They were the first ones doing something like that.
And also, they even specified, like in the beginning, they're just like, "Hey, we're taking creative liberties for the sake of storytelling."
No, Dallas Jenkins, every time he's on a stream, is like, "Hey, I don't want you guys to treat this as the word of God. This is just my creative interpretation of it."
And even the guy who made the House of David, he keeps reeling. He keeps like leading people to like read the Bible, read the Bible, read the Bible. We have taken creative liberties. Read the Bible. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I haven't seen House of David, but I've seen like bits of like the interview.
I haven't.
Of the guy.
I've literally seen nothing about it.
I don't know. I haven't. I don't know where to find it. I don't know if it's like on the Angel app or if it's something else. If it's like a subscription to something else,
I hope
then
not.
I've never seen it because it's like,
yeah,
who's got money for that?
That's real. I've never seen anything to do with House of David. Chat keeps on mentioning it. No, you mentioned it. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I've seen bits of it. It's the guy. I seen that the guy who wrote it has helped work on The Chosen.
Interesting.
It's on Prime. I may be able to watch it then. I may be able to watch it then. I have
Prime. Bro, I was like gonna say something, it's gone now. Oh, when it comes to my stories that I do write, that I try to glorify God, I like, for the reasons I've stated, I try to stay away from like actually having a God character in the story. There'll be like things that'll hint to the fact that the world was created by God and that he's a loving God. There's like things that you could drop little pieces of it. But usually what I do is something that my mentor back in high school told me to do was, if you're scared of writing God into your story, still write him in, but make him a little hard to find. So it's like with morals and stuff. One of my favorite stories I've ever worked on is called Vidalia, and it's about this woman who has a terminal illness, and she's kind of like, her whole life is like she can't do anything. She's in a wheelchair. She can't walk. She's kind of stuck. And she just hates life. She's just waiting to die. She doesn't really care about anyone or anything. And she kind of has this encounter with a priest on the road. God isn't mentioned, but he's a priest. Like, he's obviously supposed to be representative of Christ. I really want to write it so that you might think, oh, maybe he's an angel a little bit, because just like he kind of appears out of nowhere. And he kind of like convinces her, hey, do something good with your life with the short time you have. Everyone's on a timer. No one knows really when they're gonna die. Do the best you can now. And that's kind of like the whole story of Vidalia, is that she's spending the last few years that she has helping people with whatever she can do, and kind of reconnecting with friends and family and caring about people. And I really like that story. So that's kind of like my heart behind writing Christian, is that I'm scared of actually making it like here's Jesus, here's God, here's all this stuff, because I don't really want to misrepresent God, but I can represent the gospel and morals from scripture pretty easily because I grew up Christian. I understand it a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say with my personal stories, I'm gonna be a little bit more bold about it. Like, I'm gonna just be really bold about it. This is a fictional world, like, I guess I'll say, for the sake of example, whether or not I say it well is, beyond me. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna say, there was, back in Europe, during the witch hunts, some people would claim that they weren't witches, but they were able to turn into wolves to hunt down the witches by the power of God. And that, I think that these people were on drugs, personally. But it sparked an idea in me, and it's just like, what if God actually did that? What if God actually, had, did that? And, that's the fictional story. It's just like, what if God... Because God could, he wouldn't in our world. But, what if in this fictional world, there were monster hunting monsters?
Interesting.
I think that that'd be a really cool idea, and I'm pretty intrigued by it. And that's kind of the story that I have in my head, is literally Christian
That's really
werewolves.
cool. That's actually really based.
Because it's based off of something that people did to get out of being executed, which is fair. But I think that but it's in our world. But it's just well, what if? What if God did do it this way in this fictional world? And here's the thing, it kind of just gets to a point where it's if I have to tell you if I have to specify to you that I know werewolves aren't real, then I think maybe you're not giving me enough credit at that point. If you need me to convince you that I know that werewolves aren't real, I don't know what to tell you.
Alright, we do need to keep on moving here because we have about 30 minutes until you have to go, according to your time. Right? Because you wanted to leave by 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. I don't really mind.
I don't have to if my family comes home and agrees to be quiet.
I don't really mind the noise, and I don't think the chat minds the noise either.
If chat doesn't mind the noise, then I'm fine. I just didn't want to be an interruption to chat.
Nah. Also, I think Discord has pretty good noise cancellation, so that's cool.
There are stories of Celtic werewolves, and there even was in
Wolfwalkers made a movie about that.
Yeah, but they're I'm not a fan of
I'm
not a fan of the Wolfwalkers because they're just
it's pretty demonic.
It's they're very pagan.
Really leaning into the demonic. Oh my gosh. Huh?
Hey Frog, I'm working RN, but I just wanted to SC you and say thanks for being a bright light in the VTuber world.
$100?
Oh my goodness.
What the heck? Huh?
Clap, applaud, chat, applaud.
What in the world?
Applaud. Somebody wanted to bless you today.
I'm rich guy.
Oh
What the heck? Thank you so much, Ryan MC. Oh my word. Huh?
A hundy?
A hundy?
A hundy?
Bruh, I don't even know how to recover from that. The way my eyes popped out of my face.
Like this?
Yeah, lovely sound effects. Oh my gosh.
Where's the awoogas?
Bruh, stop donating money. Oh my word. What? I'm a real YouTuber now. Thank you, Instructabill. What the heck?
Oh my goodness! Yay!
Bro, I'm eating good tonight.
I'm ordering out tonight.
I'm ordering out food tonight. Aw, Ryan, you're so sweet. What the heck? Brother. How's it feel to be a real streamer? I'm reeling?
It's okay, take your time.
I found a 4-leaf clover today. The heck? I'm actually a little dizzy. I was not expecting that.
What did...
I
Breathe,
think...
take some water.
Yeah, I'm drinking water. I think it
Water.
hit me more that someone cares enough about me to give me $100 than the actual $100. Like, that's so precious. What the heck?
Well, I mean, this is, you know, like, this is a God-starved community.
Aww.
And you're here doing the Lord's work. That means a lot to people.
Crazy. How do we even continue on with this stream? Oh wait, it's your topic, so you can yap and I can just sit here.
Guys, you just wanted to sit here and relax while I talk to you about Christian werewolves?
Yes. Yap. The yappening.
Alright, well, going back to the Celtic comment that someone had made, there are stories in Ireland of like this, like they're fables, they're fictional stories, but it was a story of like this wolf couple, and the female wolf was injured, and this saint, this Catholic saint man, came over and healed her, and I think these wolves were like able to talk for some reason. And in Gaelic culture, there were the like wolf men of like this Fae king. There's a lot of like, when it comes to werewolves and like legends mixed with Catholicism, that's like a bunch. You'll get a lot of that in Ireland. I'm not Catholic, but yeah, I just think that, you know, Christian werewolves are based werewolves, and I personally don't think I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I think it's an interesting idea to like, well, what if God did do something that these crazy people said that he was doing?
It's a very cool idea. Honestly, love it when people like take like something that's been notoriously a pagan or like demonic concept and like, because I think a lot of the werewolf myths probably came from demonic activity, and they like turn it towards a god-given thing. Like it's cool.
I think what it was is when it came to like people who believed they were werewolves, I think that they were either doing drugs and committed cannibalism, or they were doing drugs and they were hallucinating and then probably also committing cannibalism.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there is like a mental illness that makes you think that you're a wild animal, so maybe.
Yeah, and Diversitile says that Samson was given like superhuman strength. Like, he was the real world Hercules. He was the... People talk about Hercules, like, forget Hercules, that was Samson.
Samson was
I say
cooler,
Samson,
honestly.
it's actually
Hercules was dumb. Samson was really cool. Okay, Samson was a
Also,
little dumb
Hercules
too.
isn't even his proper name. His name was technically Heracles. Hercules is the Roman version.
Of course. Because Romans steal everything.
They did, because it's like... Like, well, this culture's kind of cool. What if, you know,
Yoink
just,
a few
you know,
parts of this. Ryan
just copying
says,
the neighbor kid's homework.
Ryan says, I always catch your streams too late in California, but I just got off a meeting and saw you live. May the good Lord continue to guide you. Aww. Thank you. Indestructible says, I hope if God allows me to make YouTube videos that you two might collaborate with me. I would definitely consider it. I can't speak for Allison. Definitely consider
I'm
it.
sorry,
I love
what?
doing collabs.
I'm so sorry. I did not hear you. I was spacing out.
Girl, it's
Big
real.
time.
Indestructible says when he starts making content, he wants to do a collab with both of us. Maybe one day. Again, my life is so crazy right now. I cannot promise anything, but yes.
Hercules is dollar store Samson.
We're not VTubers, Truth Seeker. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I don't know how my character would translate into a VTuber.
I don't know either. I was actually
honest.
thinking about this morning because I really want to learn how to make VTuber models eventually, and I was like, oh, I could experiment with Alice's character. I was like, how would I do that? I don't even know
Like,
how
I
I would
have
do
a
that.
nose. I don't have a nose. I
Right.
have a suggestion of a nose.
I don't even know how I would do like the eye tracking because you have 4 eyes.
I have a suggestion of a nose.
And then
I
the
don't
scorpion
even
tail
have a
would
real
also be
nose.
interesting to do.
Well, I would say if you were gonna like track the eyes, I would just say have each corresponding eye like work with each other. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I would have to,
right
I guess.
side of the eyes, like both eyes move the same direction. Left side eyes, you know, both move in the same direction.
Yeah. I would have to figure out the program a little bit. You might be like a later project once I actually know how the program works, but yeah. It's something I want to do eventually, maybe when I'm in college. I could take it up as a hobby, but
Ben suggests that my VTuber model is just like my stinger up in the air. Like it's just
like a sock
talking
puppet.
stinger.
You just put like googly eyes on it.
Like a sock puppet.
PNG tuber equals proto VTuber. Yeah. I had someone on stream last night offer to make me a PNG tuber model, but I really don't want to do it right now because, yeah, life crazy. Anyways, do you want to move on to talking about struggles and opposition?
Struggles and oppression. The
Oppression.
oppression
I'm
is
being
real.
oppressed! Do you want to talk
yeah.
about
Yeah.
your topic?
Alrighty, I'm going to struggles and opposition. Okay,
Crikey.
I would honestly say that when it comes to entering new ideas, in terms of glorifying God with our creative ideas, we are going to get more opposition from fellow believers than from non-believers. Because I had talked about this earlier in the stream, but there's like sort of this status quo that has been established where the creative realm is not an acceptable means of honoring God. So as we start to introduce new types, like, you know, even with the Jesus Revolution, when there was new types of music being introduced for worship, that got some backlash. I think we're gonna get the same thing, and it's gonna be predominantly from fellow believers who they are fearful of God's word being misrepresented, or they're just so used to it being considered unacceptable that they would rather it stay that way. And that makes me think of like Jonah. Like Jonah, nobody can deny that Jonah loves the Lord, but also nobody can deny that Jonah hated the Ninevites and did not want them to have redemption at all.
Right.
And I think that we're gonna have people that are like that, who genuinely love the Lord, but are so stuck in their ways and are so used to this thing being seen as not okay that they would rather it stay not okay, because that's all they've ever known.
Yeah.
And I would say this, just be in prayer and just really be attuned to where God is leading you, what he's leading you into. And, you know, we answer to him first. We don't answer to even fellow believers. We don't answer to. We answer to God first, and we follow His will first. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna write my story about Christian werewolves, and God is the one who's telling me, hey, no, not for you, then like that's who I answer to. But if I'm gonna write my story about Christian werewolves, and God's like, hey, go for it. I'm gonna go for it, even in spite of like people saying like that's blasphemous, that's demonic, that's evil, that's stupid. It's like, yes, it may be stupid, but I want to do stupid well. Do stupid for the Lord and do it
Do
well.
stupid for the Lord. Another merch idea. Put that on a mug.
But I would as more, because things have just been so stagnant for so long, especially in America, I would say so, just because like persecution isn't that bad here. It really isn't, because our persecution, at least in America, is petty insults and minor inconveniences. That's
Right.
Christian persecution in America. Like, we're not in risk of having our heads cut off.
I actually have a funny story about that. So as most of you probably know, I'm not American in my heart. I grew up in Papua New Guinea as a missionary kid. And when I moved up to the States, I spent a lot of time in a Christian community in California, and it was kind of isolated from the rest of America. So I didn't really have like the full introduction to American culture. We went on mission trips to Africa and then the Middle East, and then I came back and was fully integrated into American culture. And this lady in the job I was working at, one of my coworkers, she was like, "Oh yeah, persecution." We were talking about persecution for some reason. She's like, "Oh yeah, persecution. I've experienced that." I'm like, "Oh no, what happened?" Thinking like, I don't know, maybe someone slashed your tires or something. I was like trying to think, what does persecution in America look like? She's like, "Yeah, I posted like this verse on my Facebook page, and people were really mean to me about it." And I was like, "Ma'am." Ma'am, you can't call that persecution. Because, like, I haven't really experienced persecution myself. I've been really blessed to have a really safe life so far. But I've seen other people that have gone through it. Like, in Papua New Guinea, if you upset the wrong group of people, if you upset someone because you're too Christian or whatever, or your family members get mad at you, your house burns down. They kill you. Like, they cut up... They come in with their swords and stuff. It's not fun. I went to the Middle East where, like, if you became a Christian, you'd lose your job, your home, your family. Everyone would cast you out of society. Africa, I mean, it wasn't really dangerous because everyone was Christian, but, like, still, spiritual oppression was a huge deal. And that was kind of my reference point for what persecution was. Never went through it myself, of course, but it was just so funny for me to hear this American being like, "Oh yeah, Facebook comments made me persecuted." I'm like, girl, please.
Well, that's the thing, is that, America is, I'm going to say a bold claim here. We've probably got some non-Americans in the chat. I'm going to say a bold claim. America is the best, freest country in the entire world because it is solely founded on men who care about the word of God. Even the people who currently run it, if they don't care about God fully, that's what the foundation is. The foundation is God-fearing men.
Yeah, and you're safe to believe whatever you want here. I think I watched a video recently about this guy who thought he was a woman who moved to England to escape all of the harassment from people who are transphobic in America. He went to England and he's like, I don't know if you guys been keeping up with the news. There's a lot of Muslim people in England right now, in the UK, and he kind of like had a first-hand experience with that. This lady, she moved to Africa to escape racism in America, and she's like, racism is so much worse in Africa than it is in America. So I feel like, yeah, really, we take it for granted, or Americans take it for granted how safe and, like peaceful in comparison to the rest of the world America is.
Yeah, and that means our persecution looks different. Our perspective of persecution looks different.
Right.
And I think that's actually why Christianity died out as much as it did in America, is because our persecution has been so minor. But now as things get more extreme, persecution is starting to become more extreme than what we are used to. So we do have, in the US, we do have Christians getting arrested for praying outside of abortion centers. And I think that's actually going to help us, that's going to strengthen us, that's going to help
Start taking Christianity
lead to
seriously.
more and more revivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've even heard like there's a church in China, and the pastor specifically asked Christians to not pray over the persecution going on in China because it keeps their dependence on God strong. It keeps their faith in Christ so much stronger when they have to work together and fully rely on Him so that they can worship Him and serve Him effectively in their country. So I think the persecution, what we're starting to see of persecution in America, I think it'll be good. It'll be healthy. It's like working out a flabby part of the body. It's like, it's about time, It's about time. We've been letting ourselves go.
It seems like
It's
such
about
a
time.
horrible thing to say, but I really think that the thing that the American church needs is persecution. And I don't think that necessarily has to be, like burning down of houses, executing people in the streets, although, like in China, that's what they're going through, really. Well, maybe not so much anymore because it kind of be wrong, but, the media would be like, oh, how dare you, but, still, it's a tremendous amount of persecution. Just a little bit in America would really help the church get back to what it's supposed to be. I think it would heal a lot of the division in the church because instead of fighting with each other, we'd have to fight against the mutual enemy of oppression. I think it would solve a lot of the issue with doctrinal issues. All of a sudden, the most right now, probably the most controversial issue, the issue everyone talks about is LGBTQ and racism and that kind of thing. And even in the church, you see that a lot being discussed. That would no longer be the focus. Like, all of a sudden, people are just, focusing back on who God is and, what it means to be a Christian. It would just really, reset people's perspective of Christianity. Also,
Yeah.
I saw Fenrir Firestar in the chat. Hi, Fenrir, hi! He's also a really cool Christian VTuber. You guys should check him out. Alright, sorry. I yapped on your topic.
No worries. I'm just rechecking my notes here since my brain is as scattered as a salad. Or as tossed as a salad, pardon me. I need to properly represent my scatterbrainedness.
Todd Friel is what it's looking like. I don't know who that is, but
I think overall just what we're seeing is I think we're just seeing something that was just a long time coming. As the enemy gets, as we get closer and closer to the end, the enemy is going to have more and more of a foothold over the world. That is just what we're going to see. And you know what? I think that's what we need. I think the West really needs, we've been clinging on to God, but now we need a reason to fight for Him. And I think that's what we really needed. So I honestly think that the persecution is good. Even from the opposition of fellow believers, I think that will be good because I think once they see the fruits of the works of the people that God is inspiring, once they see the fruits of that, some of them may change their mind, some of them may never change their mind. But, once we start seeing this, I think that as time goes on, we are going to see more and more of a revival going on. And I think it's ultimately just God taking territory back from the enemy.
Yeah.
And, going out to these other places that have been so godless and calling back the lost in these places. Like I said, artists are some of the most degenerate people I know.
Yeah.
I was the only Christian in an art class for 4 years in high school. And I went in there as one of a handful of straight people. And I left the only straight person after those 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that, God is really, I think that He's really calling people to these places to be, a really good. I think he's just reaching out to these waterless places and just providing someone who is willing to pour out his water for them.
You want me to say something?
Somebody asked, have we ever dealt with persecution?
No.
I think I don't know if I've ever like dealt with like persecution, but I don't know, I've had the mild like inconvenience of like
Yeah.
American I've had American persecution, like the mild inconvenience of, people silently judging me and may or may not have gotten fired because of it. I don't really know. I don't know. But either way, it's fine because God has me where he has me, and he's going to put me where he's going to put me. And, I'm open. I am just completely open. And I think that, I don't know. I was angry when I was first watching, like, when people go through, like, real persecution, like Nala. That adult star, she gets these horrible, horrible things. Like, her husband is being sent scenes of her old life, and, like, they're getting death threats, and these are from proclaiming Christians. And they're, like, screaming at her and cussing at her, and it's just, like, not offering her any grace at all. And like, she's going through persecution.
Yeah.
Maybe not violence, but like
it's still an attack to some
beyond
degree.
the petty insults, like just like persecution from believers to just keep bringing back up your sinful past. I remember being very angry when I would first see that.
It's just such a horrible
like,
representation of the Christianity. It's like,
It
you're
is,
not
but
a
at the
real
same
believer.
time,
I'm
it
like,
does
so
then.
if an adult content creator can't turn from her old ways and follow Christ, then none of us can. Like, bro, like, the grace is simple. Just turn to God. My gosh. It made me so mad.
It does make me mad, but it's also, I'm trying to think, like, okay, where are these people coming from? Either they are not truly Christian and they're just talking to talk. They're just talking to talk, or they are Christian and they are deceived either because of fear or because of tradition, or, like, they could be, like, just stuck in their ways, for whatever reason. And, I think that I'm angered by it when I first see it, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, this is good though. This is strengthening our body, because she was the top maker in her industry, and now she is just so on fire.
I mean, here's the thing. I would never have heard about Nala.
The Lord, and I was just like, I watched these interviews of her, and I'm just like, and I was just like, I remember I heard about her because of an interview she did with Michael Knowles, and I was just shocked to see how many people would not give her the time of day.
Yeah.
But like, I hear her speak, and she is just a
Oh, you're cutting out,
person.
Allison.
Like, there's like, oh, am I cutting out on your end?
Yeah, you're cutting out on my end a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know what to do.
It might go away, but
yeah. Well, I'm gonna just speak, and hopefully you can still hear me.
We can piece it together, don't worry.
Yeah, but she is just very full of the Spirit, and she is just radiating the Holy Spirit, and like, I can see it in her, and it's just like enough so that it's like, it's inspiring to me, and it's like, I want that. But here's the thing, how did she get there? She got there because she went through so much. Like, the Bible itself says, he who is forgiven much loves much. Like, people who are saved from some of the deepest, darkest things, they are some of the most passionate Christians you'll ever meet, because they've gone through something so horrible, or they've done something so horrible, and God has redeemed them anyways. So, you know, her fervor is very like inspiring, and I want that. I
Yeah.
haven't gone through what she's gone through, but I want that, and
I think
you know, I want to work towards that. And whatever little bit of persecution, whatever little bit of hardship, makes it worth it because it
100%.
does get me closer to that because it means I have more to be thank God for and more to rely on Him for.
Yeah. I think like with Nala's case and with some other people's like cases, I would never have known about Nala if she hadn't undergone all that persecution. I would never have even heard her name. And I think that her testimony has been spread so much just because of how much she's gone through, how much people hated her. All of a sudden, her story is everywhere. And it's really encouraging, especially the people who are also stuck in this or this kind of like industry or similar industries, or just even in the sin of lust in general. She has such an encouraging story for people. Same with Celestium, who I talked about a little bit earlier in the stream, is that she went through severe backlash because of something she said about LGBTQ, and I would never have found her channel if she hadn't. I would never have met her. A lot of people would never have seen her content for the first time if she hadn't. She really it really pushed her testimony and what she was actually trying to say to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think I think back to the brothers, like I forget all their names, but like the establishing family of Israel, like Jacob's sons, or was it Jacob? It was the one that was sold into slave in Egypt, and how God actually used that to save his family later on down the line by putting
Joseph,
him in this.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I think about, is that, you know, this persecution is good. And I also think back to what that Chinese pastor said about, like, don't pray for us, it keeps us strong to go through this persecution. So I think any persecution we face, I want to try. I want to try. It's really hard. I'm full of emotions, silly, foolish ways, but I want to try to take every hardship that comes my way, whether it's self-inflicted or from the outside world. I want to just try and take it and be like, this is going to strengthen me for the Lord. This is going to ignite my fire for the Lord. This is good, because I mean, if you don't work out the muscle, it.
Oh no, she's cutting out so much.
Joseph, thank you.
At the end of, I don't know if you're still talking because you're cutting out so much.
Was I really cutting? You're cutting out a little bit for me too.
Interesting. I don't know, because chat said that like you sound fine on their end. It's just I can't. You keep on cutting out. I don't know what's going on.
Am I cutting out for you?
Yeah, for me, like you're not. The Discord is the audio's not coming through.
Okay, so chat can hear me, but
I
think
can't.
Is it Discord having the issue?
Maybe it's just a lag between Discord and stream.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Something went wrong.
Of course it did. What? Would not be a frog stream without scuff. We've established this. Oh, okay, so you good. Okay, so it is actually on your end then, if they can. Yeah. So it's cutting out for chat too.
Okay.
What you could
I don't
do
know
is leave the Discord call and join again and see if it just resets your connection.
I can try that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll call you back.
All right. She gone. She back.
Am I back? Am I coming through?
We'll see. I guess we'll
Alright.
see.
We'll see.
Yeah. But to your Jacob thing, like actually the end of Jacob, it says he says to his brothers, for what you intended for evil, God used for good. So I just thought I wanted to add that.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do when persecution comes my way, or like struggles in general come my way. Oh, I'm gone.
No, it's just the stream is lagged a little bit. You're a little bit behind on the stream, but you're still here. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's like a
Alright, well-
20 or so second delay between what we say and like what happens on stream and like what chat sees.
Okay. All right. This is
A whole
this
new
is hard to
world.
keep track of.
Yeah, it's
This is
fine.
hard to keep track of.
I'll keep track of the issues, don't worry. I have the whole, like, stream panel open. I should be able to catch anything. Except
Yeah.
for the lagging. I don't know.
Try to use persecution to ignite your fire.
Real.
There's chat. I see the war with frogs computer continues.
Man, this stream must not have some little powers might not have wanted us to do it because there's been like uphill fighting everything.
I mean, like, maybe there is somebody who needed to hear this today. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe our ramblings are worth more while than we could ever imagine.
Real.
I mean, if God can use TikTok to get me back on track with him, then I think he can, you know, use something we said today to help somebody.
Real. Alright, I think we're good to go. You're not cutting out anymore, so.
We're up to 60.
We're up to 60! Crazy.
Well, 61 on mine.
It's showing
No,
57
back
on
to
mine.
No, it's only 58.
Dang.
People came and I was just like, nah.
Just did not want that. I mean, there's like YouTube chat bots that kind of just will like up your stream count for a little bit. I don't know why.
That sounds
whatever.
really annoying.
It's really weird, yeah. So it's like a huge amount of people just added onto the stream out of nowhere. It's usually just bots.
David waits for the Lord. Have you guys read the Left Behind series? I am in the process of it. I'm like
It's
halfway
so
through
good.
and oh my gosh, it's so big.
I
It's
love
so
that
big.
book series. I don't know how accurate it'll turn out to be, but it's such a good series.
I don't think it'll be very accurate, but I think it, like, in terms of, like, obviously the people.
Yeah. It
I
really,
don't think Ray is a person that really exists.
No,
but,
no. I mean, like, the events and how, like, Revelation will
Yeah.
actually carry out. But, like, it's so good.
I am so ready to be raptured. like,
Honestly.
here's the
Although,
thing.
like,
Do you-
I kind of want to be around during the tribulation, because that'd be kind of fun. I don't know.
although, thing is that at least when I have been, when my pastor goes through like Revelation, he you know, we're reading the book with him. Like we're reading it with him. It's not just like I'm just sitting here listening to him talk. I mean, I've heard other studies about it and I've read it on my own time. And I really do think that it's we are the church, and the church needs to be out of the way in order for the Antichrist to come into power. That's what the rapture is. It's God meeting us in the air and just taking us out of the way so that the Antichrist can come into power and the tribulation can start, because the tribulation is for the redemption of Israel.
Interesting. I haven't done a ton of study on Revelation, so I don't have an opinion, but
I've
whatever
done
God
the study
does
on
is gonna be
Revelations
best.
because I have a story that I want to do that involves the end time.
That's really cool. My opinion on Revelation, whether pre-trib or post-trib, I just trust that God's gonna do the best thing, and we're gonna enjoy it, I'm sure. Because God,
But yeah, no matter
so
what
cool.
happens, I think no matter what happens, I think that I think it's gonna be good no matter what happens.
Right. God knows what
I mean,
he's doing.
when it comes to the millennial reign, you know, he says that we'll rule with him in the millennial reign.
Yeah.
Oh, someone donated.
Oh my
Fire
gosh,
Star.
Wanted to
Fenrir!
show some support
Stop!
and some encouragement. Keep fighting, sisters.
Fire Star.
First
Fire
stream
Star.
and it's very
I love
good.
the Warriors series
Glad
until
that
I
y'all are
didn't.
speaking up.
That's real. Thank you, Fenrir. That's very sweet
Honestly,
of you.
The Warrior series should have stopped when Firestar died.
Honestly, thank you. That
Could've
was the only
stopped when
good
he
part
died.
of it. And then it got gay after that. I don't know what happened. It was weird.
I don't. What?
I read way too much of that when I was younger. I don't even.
What?
There's like
Also,
a
have you
spin-off.
ever heard of like the Wings of Fire?
Yes. Girl.
Okay,
I have
I
so many
was-
friends who were a part of that community, yeah.
I loved it, and then like in the next series, it's just like, wow, gay dragons. Can we just?
Whoa. Can we
What about the
not?
dragons? Can we just have dragons? Can we just
Cool
have dragons,
please.
please? Can we have dragons, please? Like, just that. Just that. Nothing else, just dragons.
The versatile said frog calls going through the tribulation fun. Me looks back at screen, come again. What I meant was that, well, my opinion is that during the tribulation, those who are not believers will still have a chance to repent and come to God, and still, regardless of when the rapture happens. Because honestly, if God didn't want them to have another chance at like salvation, he would just kill them all and send them to hell directly. You know, like express delivery. I think that because the tribulation is a period of time, they're still gonna have a chance to repent and turn to God. And the only reason why I say it would be fun is because it would be really cool to be like a prophet or an evangelist during that time, like someone who's calling everyone's attention back to God during the tribulation. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be people who do that, and there's I think what the tribulation is, it's for Israel is like currently hardened its heart to Jesus. Like we see that Israel is still, for the most part, hardened its heart to Jesus. And that's what the tribulation is for, the final, like, this is your final warning for Israel. Because for a lot of Israel, it will take the 7-year tribulation for them to waken up to the Lord. In the meantime, though, there are other people who get left behind who will be, who are not, Israelites, who will be saved and will be, working for, and will be, like, serving the Lord in that time.
Yeah. Very cool.
I think Left Behind gets it pretty accurate. In terms of, like...
Regardless of how accurate it is, it's just such a good Christian novel. Like, it teaches such good things. It's just beautiful. I love it.
Instructabil, did you guys go to college to learn to draw? No, I did not. I was self-taught for most of my life, and then in high school, I qualified for a special art program. So I would go to a different building to go to my art class, and I would do college level art in high school.
That's so cool.
It sounds like such a big flex, but it really isn't.
No. It's very cool. I've been pretty much self-taught my entire life. I did like a little bit. I think I did 6 months of art class in high school, but I genuinely think that actually was worse for my art than anything else. The art teacher his heart was not in it. He did not want to be there. He really just kind of like handed us paper and made us sit what?
More
Federer sob!
I like how we donated to complain about gay
dragons.
Putting
frickin' chemicals that turn the frickin' dragons gay. Do you understand that? Gay dragons.
What the heck? Brother. Okay. What was I even saying? Oh, my art class that I took actually did like harm to my art career. I've been self-taught my entire life. But it was really just because in high school I was heavily introverted, really social anxiety. So when I got home from school, I didn't talk to friends, I didn't do anything. I just would go into my room and draw. That was kind of how I learned. It's just spending hours and hours and hours of it. Just kind of like brute forcing, smacking my head against the wall so I would learn it. I'm sure there's better ways of learning how to draw, but that was how I learned.
I just keep seeing people talk about gay dragons.
It just makes me crack up. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I couldn't even hear you. I was too busy looking at the gay dragons.
Sorry, I got distracted by the gay dragons.
They're a little distracting.
A little distracting. My word. I was just saying that I was self-taught. Yeah. Yeah,
You're self-taught, and then high school didn't go very well.
High school class didn't go very well. Yeah, I just taught myself by throwing myself at a brick wall until I learned. And then I discovered YouTube tutorials and eventually like started learning from them.
I learned from basically what I would do is that I would just go online. Back when looking online was safe, I would go online and I would just look at pictures that I thought were cool. Like if somebody drew a picture of a like a wolf or what have you, and I would just look at that and I would try to draw it. And I would even I wish I still had this picture. I don't know what happened to it, but I have this picture of me. So I had tried to draw a girl's face without a reference. And then I tried drawing a girl's face with a reference. And the one without this was in the same day. The one without the reference looked terrible. This was like back in like 7th grade. My art skills really kicked off in 7th grade. Between 7th and 8th grade was like the most improvement I had ever seen in my entire life, and I have never had that same amount of improvement in such a short amount of time ever again. It was crazy. In the same day, I had this picture of a face and it looked terrible, and I didn't use a reference, and then I did use a reference and it looked exactly like the picture.
Dang.
And I was just like, man, if I just knew where to put things, it would look a lot better.
Dang. Bro, the chat won't stop talking about gay dragons. What the heck? Benyer, you've ruined the stream. Alright.
Apparently there's... Oh! My brother used the microwave. That's the beeping sound. Somebody was complaining about a beeping sound. There was no lava with the cat face.
No lava? I don't know.
No lava?
I've never
That
seen
was
no
my
lava
brother
before.
using the microphone. He's having dinner.
Alright, we should probably move on before it becomes too late.
See, but also I think we've gone through everything. I think we've gone through
On your
everything we
topic?
wanted to go through.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And I think
That's
it's
fair.
just like chatting now.
It's like well, I have a few more things I want to say, but okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We finished my checklist.
Okay.
We finished my checklist. My checklist is gone. I'm
Alright, I was
done.
like
I'm
looking at your
good.
wall of text on your notes. I'm like, is she through all this or not? I can't tell.
I am. I'm
I have
done.
like 3 things on my notes, and she's got like an entire page of stuff.
My mind thinks in paragraphs.
Alright. I wanted to finish up just talking about Christians in media, talking about like different standards for Christian content creation, because I think that was like just the natural way to end, just to end the conversation. There's one more thing I want to do after this though, the kind of like call to action, but yeah. Just this whole idea of being the world, not of it. We have higher standards and we have a responsibility as teachers and leaders. Like, that's something that's repeated in scripture a lot. Deceptive teachers are way more accountable at the end of days than everyone else. Like, there's a whole lot more responsibility on people who are leading the internet and media, and in teaching people, especially like content creation, like what I'm doing. There's a lot more responsibility for us to actually represent God correctly. On top of that, we are representatives of Christ. Like, we are Christ's body here on earth, which is kind of crazy if you think about that we are essentially we are Jesus present now on earth. So I found a few rules that I just right before the stream started because I was running out of ideas. A few things that I just think that are important to keep in mind when we're, especially in the content creating sphere, but also just in media in general. Yeah, no swearing, making our speech edifying, not degenerating. I'm gonna find the verse. It's Ephesians 4:29. Ephesians 4:29. It says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Humility is from Chronicles 7:14. If the links would load, they are not loading. Hold on. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn away from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. And when I was thinking about this morning is, a lot of times to deal with like cancel culture and just people hating them online, non-Christian content creators usually just kind of like bluff their way through opposition. They kind of just have to be confident and just keep on going, don't really let people like drag them down. And I think to some extent that's important for Christian content creators too, but we should also be operating out of humility, that we should have accountability, that we should have people around us that can tell us, hey, when you said this thing in a video or on stream, you shouldn't have said that, you need to apologize for that, and then we actually do apologize for it. Like, humility is such a huge part of being in leadership, that we're accountable to so many people, that we're, able to be corrected by so many people. Third thing, representing Christ again, but I want to actually bring a Bible passage into it. It's Ephesians 5:1-20 or 1-33. which is kind of a long section. I probably will not read that much, but it is, if you want to read it on your own time, you can. Therefore, be imitators of Christ, or of God, as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. And I'm not going to read the whole section, but it is Ephesians 5, 1 through 33 if you want to read it. But yes, we are imitators of Christ. We are representatives of him on earth. We are to try our best to operate as Jesus would operate in every situation. Yeah, what would Jesus do is so overused, but like genuinely it's a really good motto to live by. Like, in this situation, in this conversation, what would Jesus say? What would he do here? Standing up for what is true is from 2 Timothy 2:15. I'm sorry I'm like slamming Bible verses, it's just what I do. But do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. We're responsible to stand up for the truth. We're responsible to be firm. This is something that you're gonna have, if you become a content creator, if you go into media at all, it's something you're gonna have to come to grips with. Because, you know, as soon as you start showing up as a Christian online, there's always gonna be the question, what do you think of LGBTQ? What do you think of this? What do you think of the, like, controversial issues that might get you, you know, less popular, might make people mad, you know, very, like, you know, it's kind of like a minefield. Like, it's hard to get through. You say one wrong thing and kind of like everything blows up. Actually, I used this metaphor in a conversation with a friend recently. It is like a minefield that you can see across this field. It's not a very long distance. You can see the line at the finish line. It's a very easy answer to LGBTQ, is that it's a sin and God does not permit it, but it's still, you know, you're still loved, you know, person, and God still wants you in his kingdom. Very easy answer, but between you and that finish line, there's a massive minefield. You step in one wrong place, everyone's gonna hate you. And that's something you have to kind of come to grips with. And lastly, being bold, from Ephesians 3:12. In him and through faith in him, we may approach God with freedom and confidence. And this idea of being confident in our faith, in what God has taught us, in our lives, kind of goes along with standing up for what is true. But be confident in teaching the truth. Be humble and be correctable and be accountable to other people, but also be confident that you are God's child and that you have the right to stand up and say and talk about him. But yeah, those are my 5 little rules. Yeah, if you want to say anything else, then you can go ahead.
I'm just processing. That was a lot of words.
It was a lot of words, I'm sorry.
That was a lot of words for my my old computer brain to compute. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I agree.
Okay. Then I think we're chill to end the conversation, at least, if you'd like. I just have one more thing I want to say.
Go for it.
Okay, slay. Yeah. I just wanted to end with a call to action because someone told me that's what you're supposed to do a long time ago, but I haven't done it a whole lot. But here's your call to action, is that use the talents and gifts that God has given you to serve him, online and offline, in your daily lives. You don't need to be famous or successful, just obedient. You can serve God mowing the lawn just as much as teaching the word to 1 million subscribers. That's my little call to action, is just find what you do well and do it for God. Yeah. Alright. If chat has any questions about the conversation or just anything in general, now is the time. I'm actually going to put a Q&A thing up there so you guys can like have a place to put all the questions officially. Let's give you half a second. Pew, pew, pew.
Q&A. Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves a Q&A.
Alright, there is now a Q&A. I think you can tab to it in the chat. And ask any questions that you have for us.
So how about them gay frogs?
Oh my gosh. Fenrir. Okay. Bro, I need to have this guy on the channel at some point.
You need to make merch that says they made the dragons gay.
Okay, I need to write down all these merch ideas. What was the first one? It's like, be stupid, have fun, serve God. Something like
I
that?
think it was I think it's yes, it's stupid, but I want to do stupid well.
Yeah. Okay.
Where does the Q&A show up? How do
It's
I?
at the top of the, so if you click on top chat, a little drop down
Yeah.
there, then it will usually have like questions. I don't know. Internet hard.
It
You guys,
says ask something. I see ask something. I can ask something.
yeah, you can ask something even though you're gonna be answering your questions, but okay.
Ask a question.
Alright, hold on a second. Bruh. How are you? How are you, Allison?
I'm doing pretty good. I kind of got to pee, but I'm okay.
Oh, well, you can, like, go, and I can just entertain chat while you're gone. I'm fine with that.
I guess I might as well, instead of just sitting here uncomfortably.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Alright, I'm gonna try to answer regular chat while she's gone, and then we can answer the questions when she gets back. I could do backflips for God's glory, so too can I make a sword. For real, for real. It would be an honor. I would love to have you on the channel, Fenrir. That would be a lot of fun. It would have to be in a few months though, because life crazy. I keep on saying that. I just want to say it's great having Christian content creators like y'all actually going out there and creating while maintaining your identities in Christ. Aw, thank you. I just hopped in last minute, but the word about finding what you're good at and doing it for God is usually hugely helpful for me. I no longer feel so bad for growing plants, even though it is in evangelism. Aw, that's really cool. I think, like, husbandry of the earth is definitely a part, like, it can definitely be a ministry. Just in the sense that, like, we're taking care of God's creation, we're honoring him through honoring his creation, I guess. You can definitely love God through creation, 100%. Question ideas? Well, I would prefer questions about the stream, like what we've talked about on stream, if you don't mind. I have a lot of questions about myself I've already answered on streams before, so it kind of gets old answering the same questions over and over again. But if you want to ask any questions about Allison or like anything about her, you can 100% do that. I should start a YouTube channel or two. I just need the courage, motivation to make the first step. That's fair. It's kind of hard to like, make that first step for sure. I think just do something that you're passionate about. For me, the first video that really took off on this channel was the video on Spirit and Truth, and that was the thing that God had put in my heart during that time. Very, very important to do something that you're passionate about, because usually that's something that God is also passionate about. Ever play Fallout New Vegas? I have not. Oh, Amelia, I'm sorry. Welcome back. Amelia, could you put the questions in the Q&A section so we can actually see them and they don't get lost in the chat? I'm sorry.
Although I will say, since we can see this one, I would just say, like, if you're stuck in creative places, like you want to do tabletop RPGs, but like you don't have any Christian group to play with, I would personally just say try to find people who, like, just try to find like some Christians that you can play with. If you can't find them in real life, try to find people who'd be willing to do it with you, like over a call. Like, you know, like if you can't find anybody to do it with, then at that point you are kind of just like stuck, because tabletop RPG is very much like you need people for that.
Yeah, you need community. Get connected. I'm sure there's people at your church or whatever that would enjoy D&D.
I mean, I've got people at my church who do. I've just, I've always wanted to do it, but God has never really opened that door up for me.
That's the same for me too. I've always wanted to play, but he's never put people in my life that I can play with, so I'm waiting on that.
He has put people in my life, but the circumstances have just not worked out.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's just, I just don't he just doesn't have that for me yet, you know. And he may never. And but I know that I know people who play it who are genuine Christians, and I would only ever play with other Christians that I was
Yeah, me
comfortable
too.
with.
I would never play with non-believers.
Yeah, because mm-mm.
You can go down so many bad trails with that. Yeah.
And they do, because that's what all you see D&D videos all the time.
Yeah.
They're just so ugh. They're just so ugh. They're just ugh.
Alright, I'm gonna read through the Q&A now. What are your
Where is it?
testimonials? I have it open so I can just read it. What are your testimonials? How did you guys come to Christ? I've already shared a lot about my testimony on stream, but Allison, do you want to share?
Yeah, I can share. I would say I always grew up in a Christian home, and I remember very distinctly as a child, I forget how old I was, I'm guessing I was probably 8 or 9. I just randomly, unprompted, went up to my Meemaw, and that is my grandma, for those of you who don't know what Meemaw means. It's my grandmother. But I went up to my Meemaw, and I had just asked her if she would pray for Jesus to come into my heart. And I didn't really start living for the Lord, though, until I was 18. But I think that I was saved then. And I think that being saved then, I was spared from a lot of hardships that I could have gone through. And even though I didn't read the Bible, I didn't like going to church, I did know some basic things about the Bible, and I clung to them. And because of what little I knew about the Bible, but I still clung to them, and I think that was God's grace and keeping me from getting into a lot of really bad things that other people get into when they don't have the Lord at all. But 18 is when I really started living for the Lord and really understanding of just that's what happened with Christian TikTok, is that, I saw a Christian TikTok and it was this guy doing a cringy lip syncing to the song, I Want to Go to Church. And God used that to convict me of just here I am saying I'm a Christian and I am making no effort to pursue a relationship with God. And that's what led me to want to start reading my Bible. That's what led me to want to go to church. And it's just God's been growing me since then over those past 4 years. And now my life is just completely, even I don't get everything right. I have a hard time and I struggle. Now my trajectory, or whatever the word is,
Trajectory.
I can't say it,
Okay.
but I can't say it right now. I just can't say it right now. But now I'm just laser focused on ultimately my end goal is living in a way that pleases the Lord. And even today he was, doing some big revelations to me about my life and things that have happened in it. I personally don't feel comfortable sharing those details, those really, really in-depth details. But that's the general thing, there's some things that he saved me from a lot, but because I wasn't living for him, I wasn't spared from everything. And he, even today, really put it on really put his finger on it, of what I was still living in, even just today. And, and I want him to change me. I want him to change my heart. I want him to change my mind. And I want him to just lead me into to be more surrendering, to be more graceful, and to other people, and yeah, all I can say is that, my life has a completely different trajectory. I just really just want to go where the Lord would have me to go.
Aw, that's so cool.
And I can't stand TikTok now. I would never get on TikTok now. But, I would never get on TikTok now, but I am thankful that I got sucked into it because I got into Christian TikTok because, like, oh, I'm a Christian. I should like Christian TikTok. And he actually did use that to convict me. And now I have these wonderful friends. These are the truest friends I've ever had in my entire life. I remember in high school, I was in middle school and high school, I was a part of this friend group, and I said I was a Christian, but I wasn't living for the Lord then. And I remember one of my friends, I was like asking, we were all like talking about like our place in the group, you know, like our designated place in the group. And I remember one of my friends just looked right at me and she said, "You're kind of just the one that's there."
Oh dang.
And
What the
and
heck?
and that really hurt me. Just the fact that of like looking back on it, it really hurt me because it's kind of I had my best friend and I are not really best friends anymore. She wasn't the one who said that. That was part of a different friend group. My best friend and my friend group were two different things. But you know, as we grew up and grew older, I grew closer to God, she grew further to God. But when we first met, we were kind of on the same page. But my friend group grew away from me, and my best friend grew away from me, and now all of my church friends, these are the closest friends I ever had. But even then, I'm not their best friend because they've already known each other for years. So it's like all of these people, like I have a friend at church. She's my best friend, but I'm not her best friend, and that's no fault on her. That's just the way life worked out. Like I see her as an older sister, like as a spiritual older sister that I didn't have, like I have an older sister and I love her. I absolutely love her. But in terms of like a spiritually sound one who's living for the Lord, so I'm looking forward to making more friends. I'm looking forward to like, you know, establishing my friendship with Jesus. And you know, Jesus is gonna be my best friend, and he needs to be my best friend first, because I'm gonna meet my real best friend later on, whoever my future husband is. You know,
Right.
he's gonna be my earthly best friend. But in the meantime, you know, I gotta prioritize on the best friend that any of us could ever have. And you know, I'm looking forward to you know, where God's going to take me, what other fellow believers I'm going to meet later on down the road, and just establishing these close connections that I never really had, because I never had, in my main friend groups, I was never the one of any real value. I feel like they, like looking back on it, I was never the one of any real value. They liked hanging out with me, but they couldn't, I don't know, it really like cemented this feeling of like, I just want to know my place. I just want to know my place, and I want to know my place in the world. Yeah, I know where my priorities are. And I'm not mad at any of my church friends, because I mean, they've known each other for years. These are people that have been going to this church their entire lives. I mean, of course they're best friends. Like, of course. And here, I came along 4 years later, 4 years ago, and we're very close. Like, I'm very close to them, but they already have, like, established best friends. Like,
Right.
but I do miss, like, the feeling of, like, having a best friend. Like, I miss that feeling, if that makes any sense. And, you know, I am a little bit isolated in my current situation, you know, even when,
You good? I don't know if she cut out or not. Okay, Allison, if you can hear me, you're not coming through. You might just be being quiet, but I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened. That's weird. The yoinked her. Oh no. Leave and join again. I don't know. This stream is so scuffed. The frogs got her. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yay, you're back.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what happened. That was weird. You just like stopped talking mid-sentence and I was like, is she like processing something or is she actually like not?
Where did I stop?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. Goldfish brain.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna just, I don't know. Hey, chat, where did I stop? Where did you guys stop hearing me? So that way I can speak quickly. I can get it quickly this time. I completely agree with Hope for the Hopeless. Bro, the devil's trying to ruin the stream.
You need to meet her. She is so fun. She's definitely my bestie. I think she's my closest friend. Yeah. I have a lot of those, but I collect best friends, I guess. Missing having a best friend is what Myth says you were.
Okay, there we go. What the heck was that? I briefly saw myself. But yeah, I miss the feeling of having a best friend. But it'll be okay because God's gonna bring people in my life. So.
Okay, we can move on to the next question, which is from Hope from the Hopeless, and I'll do a collab with you at some point. Girl, my gosh. I'll be best friends with Ally too. Can you? I'll have to connect you guys after the stream, I guess. It's obligatory now. Blitzy asked, what inspired the name Frog? I just posted a short on the channel talking about that, so you can watch that. I don't have to yap about it again. I have to make sure that you're not actually dead, Allison. You need to talk a little bit.
Okay, okay.
I was scared you disconnected again.
But, what would I say? I mean,
I don't know. No, I
you.
know it was a question for me. I'm scared that you disconnected. I'm like, she's so quiet.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Would you ever do collab art streams or things not directly Christian related? Probably not. I used to. I've tried to do like non-Christian content before. It just never works out. I don't have as much passion for it, and it just never does as well. And there's been a few times where God has like directly convicted me. He's like, hey, you're wasting time on something that's not glorifying me. So I've had to stop projects before. So probably not. I'm just gonna stick with Christian stuff.
I would probably say, in terms of me, I'm only going to post when I feel God is leading me to post. Or if if there's something that I think is, worthy enough to, put time into.
Right.
Like I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to like doing things that aren't specifically talking about God. I'm not opposed to that because my beliefs are still the same and I'm not going to do anything that violates what I believe.
Right.
So, even in what I do, whether or not I'm talking about God, I'm not going to be in a way that is dishonorable to God. But like if it's something like, more humorous or lighthearted, I'm not opposed to that at all. It's just if I feel motivated to because my I don't have good equipment So any video I post is going to have some poor quality. Like, this stream is probably the best quality
Oh, no.
stuff in terms of technology that you're gonna get from me. And even then, I'm breaking in and out.
The scuff is real.
So I mean, like that's the best that I've got to offer. I'm gonna do the best that I have to offer,
Yeah.
and I'm not against it if I have the time. If I have the time and I have enough motivation, I'll do something for fun. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go as the Lord leads me.
Right, and that's our own convictions too. Like, I'm personally convicted to just stick with Christian stuff, but I definitely think there's room online for a Christian who just does like art streams or just hangs out, and they can have a testimony in that way of like being an art YouTuber that also loves Jesus and just head over heels for him. I think that's definitely room for that. It's just our own personal testament, our own convictions.
See,
Will Allison ever upload more from Hive?
I think I've got something that I am going to be working on after this stream. God has put a message on my
Yes.
heart that I think he wants me to share.
Allison
So-
content! Let's go!
This will be my first bit of content in the past 3 or 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
So
Let's freaking go.
And I think that it's better this way because I was not as spiritually mature in the past 3 years. Since long ago. So I think it'll be more worthwhile this time, and I'm gonna do the best I can with what I've got. But like my microphone and stuff, I mean, I've either got a laptop microphone or an old iPhone 6 microphone, and those are my options. Those are all I
Honestly,
have.
you sound fine in this call. Like, it's chill. You don't need fancy equipment.
Yeah, but I just feel bad because I feel like my voice comes across as really irritating.
Bray.
Like on technology.
First of all, no. Second of all, you're gonna feel like that no matter what mic you use. It's just a part of it. I think my voice sounds awful when I listen back to recordings myself, even though I have a high quality microphone.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for anyone who ever spoke
My
to me.
word, people talk to me all the time. How do they put up with this? Y'all. What's Allison's channel called? It's called AllyArtz. I didn't link it because we were so pressed on time, but I can do a
It's
community
because
post.
of the technical difficulties.
Yeah, I was like, it was 3 o'clock and I was not ready, and so I just uploaded the stream as fast as I possibly could, so I forgot to link her profile. But I'll probably do a community post if I remember after the stream, and I'll put a link to her channel. So yay!
People are saying my voices are pretty. I
Good
don't-
voices.
We have good voices. Oh my gosh.
Good voices!
Your
Oh my
voice-
gosh!
Your voice is so beautiful. Hey, I think Truth Seeker just put my link.
Oh, let's go! Thank you for that, Truth. I can
Oh, I've
actually
got
pin
some
that
bad-
one.
I've got some crappy content on there, let me tell you. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was doing the
Right.
best with what I had. And I think the last thing I posted was a letter to Venturian Tale, which was a Christian YouTube channel. And they meant so much to me. And they ended up having drama in the end. And I
Aw.
was just posting a letter to them. And I think everything kind of fell apart for them because the guy who is in charge, I think he really lost sight of the Lord.
Aw.
And, so I think that I felt like God was just leading me to make that, whether or not they ever saw it, whether or not they'll ever see it, or whether or not, it was for the sake of me learning something through it, I'm not sure.
Mm.
But, that's the last thing that I have posted there. But, I mean, I'll do what I do. I'll do what I can
I
with
mean,
what I have.
I got forced to keep my old content up when I was starting over on YouTube, so you have to too, I guess.
Thing is, I'm really tempted to delete it, but
Me
at the
too.
same time, it's like, well,
So, it's helpful when you're starting out, I think, to have that content up, just so people see, hey, this is where she came from, this is the growth she's had. I'm
this
at the
is where I
point,
started.
yeah, I'm at the point in my own YouTube career where I'm having, well, actually, this is a series I'm doing right now, is it's on stream, is reacting to my old content. So I have my old content, and then I'll have a reaction to it, and I'm posting it into videos. Actually, that's what's gonna be right after the stream. Is the first edition of that. But then people can see my old content, see where I came from. But I'm also archiving the actual videos because I realized, like, if a new believer or a believer or a non-believer sees my old content, they're gonna really get a really bad, like, representation of Christianity and the faith, and I really don't want that. So I'm preserving old content while also preserving people's minds from being lied to. Yeah. Not really related to the stream, but since Discord is my main social media, I was wondering if y'all have official servers. I do. I have an official Discord server. If you click on my YouTube profile, it should be linked on there.
Part of it. I don't have my own. I'm just a part of it.
She can use mine for her fan until she gets her own.
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah. I'm considering starting a YouTube channel, but I don't know how to edit, among other things. I pray about it, but I still don't know what to do. Thoughts? First of all, I really don't know how to edit still. A lot of the stuff I do, I'm doing for the first time. I'm really learning how to do it, and so it takes a whole lot more time for me to do. Second of all, there's a ton of tutorials online on how to edit videos. Like, there's whole YouTube channels you can watch that are really good at explaining it. That's what I do. When I don't know how to do something, I'll just look up on YouTube how to do something. Sorry.
Also, you could check out self-plug. You could check out my videos, and I was using like Movie Maker to edit that. And if you can tolerate my videos, if you can tolerate the editing, and
I try to figure out what your style is. Like, I'm still kind of in that phase. I still don't really know what I'm doing. But eventually you start simplifying down the process, and it becomes easier and faster. And it kind of just a groove that you fall into, which I'm hoping for will happen soon. I'm just hearing this from other people. But yeah, it's not as hard or scary as you think it is. If you're making good content, it doesn't really matter how well it's edited, to be honest. I think one example is Technoblade. He was a super popular YouTuber, but he really did not put a ton of effort into editing his videos. Like, even his thumbnails are bad, but everyone loved him just because he was him, you know? Sometimes you don't really need good editing.
I hope he, found God in his
I really
final
do.
moment.
I really hope I get to meet that man in heaven.
Because, I mean, he had a charisma. He had natural charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, and it didn't seem like he was in a Christian family. So I do hope that he, found God in his final moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys do prayer requests? Not on this stream, but I've been thinking about when I come back from Papua New Guinea in July-ish, I'll probably start doing streams that are like more Bible study, just chill. Things that I don't have to put a ton of effort into prepping for. And then I might do prayer requests on that. Do y'all involve your friends or family members into the creation of your works, video, art streams, etc.? How much do they know about all of this, and what is the reaction so far? Do you want to start?
All that my family knows is that I have posted a few videos. I don't really, because of how little I did it and how little motivation I had to do it.
Yeah.
I had no reason to get them involved. I find it easier to do videos in terms of like recording when I'm by myself because I'm talking by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to edit, so I don't want to go through the pain of having to edit out people like barging in and talking to me. I don't want to go through all that because I don't know how. So I would always wait until I was home alone, and then I would start my ramblings then.
Yeah, my family, they know about my YouTube channel. Mostly because when I started it, I had to ask them permission to do it. And it took a while for me to convince them to let me do a Christian YouTube channel. At first, my family was not very supportive of it because they came from a very hardworking, you work for your food kind of culture, and kind of saw a lot of the dark sides of the internet, a lot of the bad sides of YouTube and the internet, and really didn't want their daughter to get involved in that. And 100%, love my family for that. They really kept me grounded even when I was trying to get more involved in the internet. But yeah, eventually my mom saw the effect it was having on people, especially when I came back. Well, especially when I started doing it again last year, and I was not with my family at that time, but my mom like sent me a message after she saw that video, after she watched that video, and it was so supportive and really encouraging, and since then my mom has really been my #1 fan. Every time I post a video, even if it's like a short or a live stream, she'll be like, oh, this was really sweet, I really appreciated this and what you said here, and I'm like, aw. So she knows a lot about it. My dad and my brother are not super interested. I feel like my dad would be if he could figure out technology, but he can't. So sometimes he'll watch over my mom's shoulder. My brother really doesn't care. But yeah.
He supports you. He supports you in the act, not in
Not really. He
participation.
doesn't support me at all. My brother does
Oh.
not care.
Oh.
I love that man, but he's a little distant sometimes.
Well, I tried to be positive.
I know. Dylan, if you're watching this, what kind of music do you listen to? Anyone in particular? We talked about a lot about that for like 30 minutes earlier in the stream, so just watch back the VOD.
I like metal. I like Christian
likes metal.
Specifically Demon Hunter.
Yeah. And I like indie and Christian music.
I think I'm no longer moving.
You're moving. Again, there's a
Am
stream
I?
delay. Yeah, you're moving.
It's just that I've been not moving for so long on my end that
Huh.
it's like,
Your stream might be frozen because you're definitely moving.
you're moving. You're
Huh.
moving for me. It's me.
Was
I
it when
don't-
I was talking? Because I was talking for a while there.
Maybe you were talking for so long and I didn't realize how long you were talking.
Because, girl, I have the stream up right now, and you're moving.
Yes, because I'm starting to move now.
Okay.
I just didn't realize how long you were talking.
I was
like, I should be
yapping.
moving by now.
Frog, when you go to Papua, look for pitcher plants on the west coast of mainland in the Isle of Biak. They're absolutely massive ones. My mom grows pitcher plants in her garden, so not big ones, but little ones. They're very cool. I'm not going to be traveling around the island very much while I'm there. I'm just mainly spending time with my family before we all move back to America together. So that's the goal. We still need the Frog Brother stream. When he comes to America, we'll do a Frog Brother stream. He'll be held at gunpoint and he will do a stream with me. Sorry I'm not talking too much. I'm in the middle of making animation. No worries.
Ooh, animation.
That's very cool.
I do not have the patience for animation.
Me
If I'm gonna
neither.
if I'm gonna make an art video, I'm gonna do the thing where it's like still images that are like
The
different
PNG.
depending, almost
Yeah.
like a comic, but you're seeing one frame at a time.
Yeah. That's pretty much the extent of what I can do too. Animation takes way too much time and effort.
Yeah,
Yo.
it's just like I can't
Oh.
do it.
It's 6, so the video is premiering right now. I actually need to go do that, so we need to wrap up the stream.
We need to wrap up the stream.
We need to wrap up the
What do we
stream.
do?
Thank
Now
you so
what?
much,
What do we
guys, for
do?
coming. Thank you so much. It was a lot of
Thanks for
fun.
having me.
Thank you for coming, Allison. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope we get to do this again.
For real, when I come back from Papua New Guinea, I'm gonna like message you and you and Sunbee and just be like, hey guys, video.
3-way collab?
3-way collab? That would actually be so much fun. Bug girlies unite. Alright, bye everyone.
You said butt girlies
Bug-
unite, and I was
Bug
like, what?
girlies,
What
no!
did you say to me?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what did you just say to me?